Hello and welcome to episode number 130 of DCP Live, guys. I got to screw up the intro somehow, so I'm inserting it right here. This is where the screw up happens. All right?
The official screw up.
This is officially where the intro gets screwed up because Holtz isn't here to screw it up right now. In fact, remember that one time that Holtz almost did it perfect and then it like derailed?
No.
Really? No, I'm actually pretty serious about that. There was this one time. It happened recently too. And we were worried about the show that day. Okay,
there was a moment. There was a moment where he got it right. There was.
Yeah, Pope remembers.
It was only one show though, and how many have we done?
130,
29,
129. Yeah,
exactly. Not done
right.
yet.
No, that's only DCP. We're talking way back.
Listen, Pope. Other podcasts don't count. All right, right, Fran. Right,
Fallout.
Yeah,
Podcast
don't screw up the other ones.
They don't count on this show, guys. I'm sorry. We exist
a different
in
show.
There's other
podcasts
podcasts about Destiny and shows.
Yes, there are. And
it's hard to believe I know.
We have. I got to tell you how this night started. Like how this podcast, episode started. I Holtz and Watts told me they were going out of town. They said, "Right, we're going to Japan."
They're searching for crawdads in Japan.
Yeah,
they want to find the Japanese, the elusive Japanese crawdad.
Right. Wow, going all the way to Japan for crawdads.
Right. Also, I think there's something to do with like the perfect sauce that was going to go with Briar's leg when we actually end up eating Briar.
Wait a minute, what?
No, doesn't matter. But let's go to crawdads.
And unfortunately, for some reason, these crawdads only were raised in these very special spas, but you couldn't have any tattoos on you when you went to them.
That's true.
So it's very interesting.
It's a faux pas.
Faux pas, huh?
It's a faux pas to eat crawdads with tattoos in a
because then they think you're of the Yakuza.
The crawdads can't have tattoos, or you can't have tattoos.
No, in spot
it's unclear what it is.
They actually don't. If you have tattoos in a lot of spas in Japan, you actually can't go. There's sort of part of it is just like a standard, but part of it is like the Yakuza have them.
So.
Can you go on a slip and slide with tattoos?
I don't know about public exposing tattoos. I think it's fine. It's the spa. Taft, you really fudged the intro up though. So I'll give you that.
Well,
I
told you. I was trying. Yeah. Well, this is going to be a good episode.
Do Fall not getting the introductions?
They decided to leave.
Leave. This is always what happens. Like the introduction of the guests is like way later, awkwardly later. Okay. It's like uncomfortably later. And then we're like, oh, hey guys, you're on a podcast with us.
I've been trying to introduce them for like 5 minutes, Stefty. Will you let me introduce them?
This is important. This is lineage.
And Patrick said they were going to go out of town. So I thought, how can I possibly replace Patrick and Watts, right? So, and I started thinking to myself, what does Patrick have? What does Watts have? So obviously I needed someone with beautiful hair and a great personality. So I got Fran.
To replace Holtzman?
To replace Holtzman. And knowledge of the game and a nuance of it. And that's why I picked Fran. So there's I
thought you were going to say Fallout for that part. And I was like, oh, okay, now I understand what's going on.
We're not sure why Fallout's here.
No.
We're actually...
Because Watts left and they need someone with milky, smooth, soft skin.
Oh,
unfortunately, that's not that at all.
You do have radiant skin.
We only have templates for the podcast that have 5 holes. And we needed a 5th hole.
And he threw a dart at a dartboard. You're like, oh, I guess we'll take
our Podbean contract says we can't have 5 beards on at any time.
That's true. That's real. That's a real, actual thing. Look it up. It's weird.
Mine doesn't even count. To be fair,
so we are all joking aside. We are very appreciative and happy to have 2 amazing guests on that are co-hosts that you're going to see them later on in the month. Fran and Fallout will be joining us next week, and then the following week will be TV and True Vanguard and Fran. But they're here to settle up and kind of help us through what's new in Destiny and to talk about video games that we all are playing. So I really appreciate you guys making the time to come on, and the show would not be possible without like the great community that we have, and for your willingness to jump in and lend a hand is awesome. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love the Destiny community more than anything. And by the way, I'm not on next week. I'm on the week after that. Minor
whatever.
Schedules. It doesn't matter. Just whatever. Just
here, there.
Mesa Sean's on
anywhere.
Why are you fucking up the intro, Fallout?
Unbelievable.
I fucked up. Sorry,
I'm excited.
Well, it's not going to get you more fucked
correcting
up.
me.
I think it's been
What was that?
yeah, I think it's been a year and a half maybe or something. I feel like it's been that. I was checking my last file I recorded in my software here. I think it was December 2017. So it could have been since then. So excited to be back.
You don't
When was the
record.
last time you were on Fallout?
What's that?
I think it's been about a year as well.
About a year? Nice.
Yeah.
When was the last time you recorded with Audacity?
I use Audition.
Oh, Adobe.
I don't even know what that is.
Adobe
It's
Audition.
Adobe Audition, yeah. You know, it used
Solid.
to be Cool Edit Pro. That's a very nerdy thing to know. Anyways, we should
Tell us about Sony Vegas while you're at it.
No, please don't. We don't talk about audio software engineering stuff.
No, definitely not. It's going to derail the show really fast.
No, but we do have some great guests lined up next week. We got Mesa Sean, and the following week we have Leopard Stealth. So it's going to be a fun week, a fun month. So thanks for joining us.
Is that Mesa Sean first time on DCP?
Nope, he's been on once before.
Was he a PD podcast or DCP?
It may have been a Planet Destiny one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I have the artwork for him, so I know he was on it.
Oh,
And,
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It was definitely DCP.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Leopard Stealth though, that's his first time, right?
Leopard Stealth.
Yeah.
He's a virgin too.
Nice.
DCP. Yeah.
We'll break him in.
DC. Yeah.
Breaking Leopard.
I'm thankful for that.
Mhm.
You know, how do you break in a lazy dad?
That's some of the best branding I've ever seen. Lazy Dad. Lazy Dad.
That's good. Is there Twitch TV Lazy Dad? Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, he's definitely a fun streamer. If you haven't checked him out, he
is.
does a lot of he plays a lot of
Like Fortnite and Apex.
Fortnite.
Mhm.
Yeah, Fortnite Apex. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
We
Good
actually
at it, too.
have a ton of Destiny stuff to talk about. Like
we do.
What?
Big
I know.
update.
It's weird, right?
It's weird.
there's some pretty interesting leaks. There's a huge update coming next week. A lot of changes to classes, there's new what are they called? Catalysts coming for weapons, which we've been wondering about for almost a year now, right?
It was about a year when they introduced them. So
Yeah.
looks like it's time to start introducing catalysts into the pool.
Yeah.
And I have like 4 of them, by the
Do you
way.
really?
Yeah, right.
They've been out for so long. Yeah, I probably have more than that, but
They're
I
pretty
feel like I
rare.
definitely have a whole bunch that I do not have.
Interesting.
Plus, you got to finish the grind to get them done. You know, you might just get one, but then you're like, it's not. You almost can't really use it until you grind it out.
Yeah.
I've got so many like that are just like not.
Half finished.
I don't know.
Jade Rabbit. Looking at you, Jade Rabbit.
Sunshot was the one that I chased and really focused on, and it's so fun. And it's
Defty,
great.
I swear to
Great
God.
catalyst.
I have Destiny up right now, and you said Jade Rabbit. I go Jade Rabbit. I don't even have it activated.
Yeah, but you should activate it and look at the requirements.
Yeah.
Well, actually, PlayStation sounds bad for scouts, and also Jade Rabbit's better now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I saw people using Jade Rabbit in Gambit Prime as a with the perk as an invader, and they were doing work.
It's viable.
Yeah. No, the not the sentry. I'm sorry, the one that you get extra damage against the invader.
That's the sentry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was mowing people down.
Good gun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we talk about first? You guys want to do the leak first?
Oh God.
The leak.
What do you say, Fran?
How
How about that leak?
They told me.
Come on,
they said
bud.
we don't really talk about leaks on the show. I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I listened to read a little bit about it,
Uh-oh.
and then they were like, "No, let's do it." Yeah, I heard somebody. Whoa, Who dropped in and out on that?
That was Fallout dropping in and out, also messing up my
was that
visuals.
The window will drop. We don't have your video, but he looks like he's coming back.
Fallout, come back.
Do we really want to talk about it?
That was weird.
Yeah, let's talk about it. We've already we mentioned it. Let's hear it, Fran. Let's hear the details.
Okay. To be fair, I was not totally prepared for this. So what was being
prepared
shown
for
in
the
leaked?
intro? All right. So it's okay.
Exactly.
And look how good he did.
The big stuff was so some of this comes from an On the Nine who has some reputability as a leaker, but you always got to take stuff grain of salt. We are not going to talk about any spoilery stuff because I agree. Like, I don't even think any of that was really in the leak, but just in case you're concerned about it. I mean, the big stuff was actually exotics that may be coming back with Penumbra, and that was in particular Dark Drinker and Hawkmoon, which would be awesome. And there's been all these rumors about the Rose, this like the fourth, I guess, hand cannon in that line, which I hope comes into existence. But there was no real leak on that. But that was exciting, if true. You know, maybe starting with like I've been waiting for Hawkmoon to show up in particular. That's the one I've been waiting for. So whether it's made up or not, I think that has credibility. Like, why not bring Hawkmoon back at this point? You brought back Thorn and Last Word, right?
I've been saying
that's the kind of thing that it's like a slam dunk. You put it in your rumor because you know everybody's gonna.
That's true.
That's
true. Yeah.
You know, it's like one of those things that lends credibility to your rumor. Well, Hawkmoon came back, so the rest of the rumor is probably true too.
I honestly think that every exotic's coming back aside from the raid exotics, that like for the life of D2. As soon as I saw some were coming back, I'm like, okay. Probably at least a 3-year lifespan and all exotics. Galahorn. I mean, what is
just a matter of time?
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. Exactly, because it's content that this is annual pass type of stuff that they're slowly bringing back into the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk a really fine line here with Hawkmoon. I mean, Holtz isn't here. We have to fill the quota for the podcast of irritating poke here. So let's fill that quota. But everybody loves Hawkmoon from who I talked to. It's really a very fun weapon. I got to play with it very late.
Just the sound of it.
I was an Xbox boy, and I had to deal.
So you never actually played.
Oh God, Hawkmoon!
You never actually played.
I'm sure it is. Sure. And then later, I got to use Hawkmoon, and I was like, yeah, I got the watered down version. You know what I mean? But Hawkmoon relies really heavily on like random bullet RNG, right?
Yeah.
That's why
it's fun and cool, but like I hate anything related to RNG because it just means that like for a PvP standpoint, like someone could get lucky. You could be in the process of 3-tapping them, and they could get lucky and 2-tap you before you 3-tap them, right?
Right.
That's right.
With Hawkmoon though, because there were so many of those more powerful bullets, it almost felt like a reliable 2-tap, like a lot. Yeah, I think that it was front loaded
a lot.
Yeah, it was the luck in the chamber was like front loaded, so that like you were more likely to get them in like the first few bullets that you shot out of the gun.
Yeah,
right.
I
don't want to ruin anyone's dream though. If people want Hawkmoon to come back,
why are you hating on Hawkmoon? You're just
I'm not hating on it.
Everybody loves
typical warlock behavior.
I'm just saying right now,
you know,
typical warlock hate on everything.
Y'all are a bunch of haters.
Unbelievable.
I want whatever is best for the community. If the community wants the gun back, I want the community to be happy. Then give them the gun.
Yeah, I don't think it would be like super powered or anything like that. I get why in an RNG situation it might concern you, but the truth is I felt like the RNG, the luck in the chamber was consistent enough that it wasn't like you depended on it. It was just really, you did get it quite a bit. And so like when you got it, you're like, cool. And if not, it was just a great hand cannon. So I never felt like it was a huge issue. So I think it would be a lot of fun. You know, we've got enough good hand cannons right now, actually. And so to have one that has that random little element, it felt so good. It's such a cool game.
In PvE, it was an absolute powerhouse too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It hit like a truck. So here's what I'm excited about. When they brought back Thorn, which I was not at all excited for, because as anybody on this podcast knows, I raged so hard about Thorn over the years. I was not excited for that to be coming back, but with it came a change in the way damage over time was applied, green effects. There was a lot of nuance to the gun that they changed. So it wasn't just, dude, Thorn's back. It was a new version of Thorn with a new mechanic, as a matter of fact, with the orbs.
So what do you think?
And all that. So I think that this is what I want to talk about. Like, what do you think they're going to do to Hawkmoon?
New Hawkmoon.
Right? So So the new Hawk Moon is going to have something to do with that power perk, right? It's got to be something away. I think it's going to move away from luck in the chamber.
A random bullet, RNG bullet,
right? Shoots a train.
No, an eagle comes down, a hawk comes down, grabs him on the shoulders and picks him up for a little bit. Just, you know,
I love it.
He's just up in the air and you keep shooting.
Yeah, it's a spirit hawk. A spirit hawk
getting carried away
out of thin air. What do you think?
Wow,
I think possible.
It's
really
great.
Getting crazy with these new guns.
Bunch should hire you. Yeah.
We're onto something.
See, for PvP, you're clearly at a disadvantage. You're being brought out, but for PvE, it's fun times, man.
I get what you're saying, but I actually don't feel like you got to mess with Hawkmoon that much. Like, I just feel like it's a great hand cannon, and the sound when you get the luck in the chamber, like, do they really need to mix it up that much?
See, that's how I feel actually. Like, honestly, I don't feel like they need to change much about Hawkmoon because, like, that is what its thing is that it's RNG bullets that randomly shoot in the chamber, and it has that cool flash that happens, and it has that iconic sound. Twing! I don't know what else they could possibly do to that gun that would really like carry that exotic thing down.
Why mess with perfection?
You know, like
I don't think that it was perfect. I think that it had some of the RNG also bothered me. I'm with Fallout on this one. I like guns that are consistent. Anytime there's an RNG based like luck in the chamber bullet, I deleted it.
That gun will never be that way though. That is Hawkmoon is RNG bullets
at its core.
Yeah.
You know, in a world where what else? In a world where Thorn and Last Word didn't like completely dominate PvP in Destiny 1, especially like the summer of year 1, people would have been bitching about Hawkmoon. It was just like under the radar, just like a smidge, because people were so angry about Thorn and the Last Word, right? Because like Last Word was the best scout rifle in the game. Thorn was two-tapping people and keeping you out of the action like for 30 seconds. 30 seconds at a time. And like the Hawkmoon was really good and was capable of two-tapping people. It wasn't as reliable as Thorn, but it was just right under the radar of being like one of those like super top tier guns. And I wonder in Destiny 2, like if you brought that year 1 Hawkmoon into Destiny 2, like what would it be like? Especially on console, if it felt like a Hawkmoon from year 1.
As long as it's
I guess that's my point. There's that aspect of the Devour orbs that played into the lore, and then like, okay, so we got you got your bullets back, and you got in PvE, you go on these terrors, you never have to reload. You can just use it as a close quarters gun and really get in there and mix it up, and it's really awesome gun to use in PvE. Thorn, I use it all the time in PvE. So I'm just curious at how they could add something to it that would be part of the lore that would make it cool in, that wouldn't change its core dynamic. You know, when you shoot somebody with it, a hawk comes down and
yeah, the spirit hawk manifests.
I can look it up right now if you want.
I think they did a good job reintroducing Thorn to the meta because it was such a menacing weapon for a really long time in PvP. And I think people like Pope were worried that if they brought it back, like would it be that triggering weapon that dominated the meta, angered people and all that stuff. But I think they did a good job. I think it's powerful. It's not OP. It's fun. It's a cool looking gun. And as long as they are planning on bringing Hawkmoon back, like just make it fun. Like as long as it doesn't completely crush the meta, like you have to have a Hawkmoon. And like it just feels the way you guys think that it felt, when it was first in its heyday in like D1. As long as the gun is fun to use and it, relatively balanced, I think people will be happy about it.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It does, like, it makes it a really tough question though, because Ace of Spades is so good and it has like these guaranteed power bullets after reloading.
That's the benefit of being a console pleb. Do you know how many people run Ace of Spades on PlayStation 4?
I'm sure.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why don't they run it?
PC Destiny 2 and console are two completely different games. 100%. Ace of Spades is destructive on PC. And it's just on console, it just doesn't have the same feel. It's just different.
I would have expected the opposite with aim assist.
It's just the way it is. They're literally two entirely different games.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet you have so much kick
factor. Yeah, it's just different. It's hard to examine. You'd have to really put it under a microscope. But I'm telling you, in comp, nobody uses.
What hand cannon do they use? Luna and
Not Forgotten all day. All day. Not Forgotten. If you don't have one, a Luna. 100%.
Well, you know what? It's the recoil plus. It's just that really slow rate of fire. I think that's
recoil,
why they steer away from it.
You know, probably plays a factor. Like it's just it's a different game.
Interesting.
Perfect for Hawkmoon to slide in and play into that exotic hand cannon meta.
Console.
There it is. You're
I guess,
adding to the reasons we need it.
Like, what would it be then for a console that would change up Hawkmoon? I mean, would it be a 140, 150?
I don't know. As long as it feels like, because again, it's just kind of like if the weapon feels relatively accurate. Like a lot of people use Thorn, I think, just because it feels. You know when like you just use a gun,
just feels
good.
Reliable,
feels great, feels accurate. You know what I mean? So there are a couple Thorn players out there, mostly in quick play.
Yeah.
If you go into comp, it's all Luna, Not Forgotten all day.
So year one Hawkmoon had a notorious ability to map people and have just.
Yes,
it was
the range. That's what was disgusting.
The range, but all hand cannons for sure. But like Hawkmoon specifically had like this magnet ability. Yeah, it was like a sniper in that sense. And would that just break everything if they brought that type of feel to a console?
You can use your hammerhead machine gun the same way, so I don't see why it would matter. You know, meaning like you can shoot across the map with that freaking hammerhead, right? And the range and accuracy feels awesome. So like I'm thinking
like how Fallout's talking about how the console meta is dominated by
very different,
Not Forgotten, all that.
Oh,
like would that, if they brought like a year one Hawkmoon, do you think that would shift up the meta? But then would it just become, you have to use Hawkmoon instead?
It might be, depending on how good it was.
Well, let me ask you this, Fallout. What do they use if it's not a comp, Not Forgotten or Luna? Like, is there one to use otherwise? Because you tell me they don't use Ace. So meaning for a hand cannon, what do you use if you didn't find comp?
You sit in the corner and cry.
Use last word,
probably. Kind of joke that like quick play is turning into like comp part 2, because if you go into quick play and like you inspect everybody in the lobby, everyone has a Not Forgotten or a Luna. The Trust hand cannon, like it's a lot of like the recoil in the bloom.
Oh yeah, Trust.
The 180 RPM hand cannons have very minimal recoil, minimal bloom. And that's what people gravitate to on controller.
Yeah, I forgot about Trust. It does have Trust. That's probably what they use, if not those, right? So, whatever. I'm annual skate all day long anyway. That's my favorite from the first year of Destiny 2. It's a great gun. You can't get it anymore.
Yeah, throwback skate.
The service revolver.
Service revolver
is really good. There's a really good role for a service revolver, and the Trust is also really good.
Laundry's here.
Laundry is here.
He warned us.
Who had happy birthday? Your laundry's here.
Excellent.
There was another.
So I'm excited.
There's a concerning rumor, in my opinion, is that it's rumored that there will not be a Comet style DLC this September. So there won't be like a Rise of Iron style DLC. Instead, we'll see another version of the annual pass, an annual pass 2.0 style thing. But the first bit of DLC in that annual pass will be a little bigger than what we're used to from this year's annual pass, but still it'll be a continuation of the annual pass.
100% believe it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the pace we're on right now. And to get to Destiny 3, it's what's going to need to be done.
Exactly. That as soon as I saw Activision's or them splitting from Activision, I was like, okay, I don't think we're going to be on the same pace anymore for those scheduled releases. I think they're going to take more time and consideration with the next major release, which is Destiny 3. And we're going to have to wait. And people who don't enjoy the annual pass, it's a bummer, but there's going to be other games. And people who do enjoy the annual pass, well, you still have something to do.
Yeah. That being said, I feel like it will be a smarter version of what just happened with this annual pass, right? Like the way that stuff was paced out. We sort of landed on this PvP. I know that Gambit, has PvE elements and there's reckoning and all, but like, I just feel like it's not for everybody. It's great stuff, by the way. I love the stuff that's in there, but it's like, I'm on to other activities right now. And I liked some of, like, in other words, if you look back at like the Forge, and it's a little like experimentational, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're going to be able to smooth that out at least. So meaning I don't feel like it's going to be 1-to-1 that, it'll play out like this year. I think they've learned a lot, and that's probably we'll start to learn that in Opulence first. And then after we get past that, maybe we'll see a bit more of that evolution, even though, I don't think we should expect Forsaken-esque content come Q4. Which kind of sucks, but it's we go through this. Do you want another Destiny 2 launch? Do you want another
exactly like I don't want to see Destiny 2 vanilla have a repeat in D3, because that would be really bad for the franchise, especially with them not having any connections with Activision anymore, because now it's like, well, who are we blaming? Oh, we're blaming Bungie now 100%. There's no splitting the blame. It's 100% the developers. I think they need to knock it out of the park with D3, and it's okay if they have to take more time. Like, it does suck to not play new content for Destiny, like real new content in September, but I don't want them to push out a D3 turd.
How much time would you give them, Tefty? Do you think they have to come out with something in September 2020, or would you allow them even more time than that to get it right?
I think if they took anywhere from 2020 to 2021 to get it right, I think it's acceptable. If they start pushing past 2022, then it's like, where'd Bungie go? What's going on here? Yeah.
I don't think it'll be that long.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
If you guys remember in the reveal of Gambit and all that, it's where we first saw Opulence, that trailer, right? And it was the Vidoc. At the end of it, what stuck out to me was, it's telling you pretty much what we're talking about is going to happen, sort of, because they took that special moment to sort of ordain and say, well, first of all, Activision was gone. So by the way, Luke, we need you to come out, step on the camera at the end real fast. And we got Luke Smith on camera kind of saying, hey, it's nice to be free. He didn't say it in those words, but read between the lines. And secondly, he said, I forget it was him or someone that they put around him, we want to be something like a live reactive game is what they said they want to be. And that they were telling you it's going to change. It's going to be a live reactive game. And that really got me thinking, what does that mean? Is it a seasonal pass game? Like in general, are we moving into the world of Battle Royale and Apex seasonal passes and things like that? I mean, I do think that's where we're headed. This season pass was the start of it. And that's why I was kind of thinking about the next season we're going to see is going to see that evolution, but it's not going to be Forsaken. Taken King.
Yeah.
That's why I feel so confident saying, I don't think you should expect it.
Yeah, and also I think like they're not exactly set up engine-wise with the way Destiny 2 is, how it's built, to fully realize that. I think D3 is going to come, and that's going to realize what they want to do with an actual live service game. Because I've always felt like Destiny has been a live service light type of thing, where they can't truly be as fast with the updates that they want to as developers. Like it always seems like that's the message that comes. Yeah, the polish. Yeah, I always get the message from them that they would have liked to do more on some of this stuff or have more updates, but there's just technical things that get in the way with that in time, obviously.
Do any of you guys think that isn't going to happen? Oh, sorry.
No. I was going to look at this in a positive light, and not to say that you weren't, but to me, D3 now, it's like they have an idea or a sense of identity. And the version that we'll get for D3, it's their last shot at this to make it right. They're going out on this with this franchise in a good way.
What gives you the impression that they've got a sense of identity now? Because I feel like they've changed this game every time they release a DLC. Like they change the target audience for this game like every year.
No, I think that this year was their final like version of like who their audience, who they want to be. And it's some weeding out of like different audiences that aren't going to be a part of it for D3. So, I mean, I don't want to go into that too deep, other than just because I feel like that's just stepping in mud. But I feel like that they're, they swung one direction in one way, super casual, right? And then they went straight up to the another direction with a hardcore grind. And now they're kind of bringing it back to this middle ground. And I think that's where we're going to end up D2 and what we're going to see D3 look like.
So the rumor is that D3 is going to really ramp up the hardcore or the difficulty and get way more hardcore. There's going to be more RPG.
More RPG elements.
And more RPG elements, more difficulty, that kind of thing.
I mean,
that's the rumor.
I think they do that, and they're then what Tefty's saying is right. They're going to go for another target audience, because I don't think their target audience, their audience that they pull the numbers from, is not hardcore. It's not.
But the ones who play it the most are ours. That's the trick, is it's engagement versus total reach. And you got to make a choice. That's what I see anyways. Like, they've been struggling, and that was the Activision mandate. And of course, personally, like, why wouldn't you want to sell the game to many more millions? But those are the people that go in and then they get some trophies and they're gone in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I kind of like Destiny. I played the story, but I moved on. And then you have the people like us that are just consuming. The engagement level is insane. And by the way, that's everybody that they invite to their studio that I've seen. It's the people that the engagement is so high. So that's why I believe that's the game they're focused on making. And Forsaken told me that. Looked like it to me. I was like, holy cow, they're not kidding around now. There's so much content that was in Forsaken that I thought was super smart. And it was pretty hardcore, like Shattered Throne. I was like, holy cow, like seriously, like pretty serious. And it feels like they're moving in that direction. And then I think you can look at it in another light too, is if you just go back and look at Destiny 1 and the subclass trees, and then you look at Destiny 2, and you can look at the improvements we're going to talk about that they're making. I think you can be like, oh yeah, like it was a miss with the sort of simplicity of the current trees. I mean, there's not really a tree, it's just selections. And I think we might move back in that direction of skill trees. And I know, Teft, you've been playing Sekiro. How cool would it be to return to like, wait, I want this class and this loadout again, like with all these different skill sets? I feel like that is their audience, ultimately. The Diablo-esque. No? Is that just me?
I think it's very mixed.
Selfish?
No, I don't. I think like what's happened over the past 4 years is that they've hit all these different markets, all these different audiences, and people like space fantasy. And there's a lot of people right now that can jump into Destiny and get a quick fix of that. And then there's some long tail pursuits as well. And what I read from that is that they want to make the long tail pursuits really rewarding, because right now it's not very rewarding in Destiny. It's go kill some stuff that you've killed already for the past 6 months, get some of the same loot that you've already gotten for the past 6 months, and then you get this one thing after that pursuit that is a piece of gear. And I think they want to revamp that and make that audience really feel rewarded with this hardcore type of perspective. And I think that would help the game tremendously. And I think, honestly, they can strike a balance between somebody who only has a few hours a week to jump in, feel like they can play in Space Magic, and then still have these hardcore players feel like they can earn things that are important to them.
But I think that's where the discussion can get... people like draw their own conclusions based on it. I don't think them saying it's hardcore and RPG means that it has to be played that way.
No, exactly.
So in other words, depth might be there, but I feel like you could still play it in the way that you're talking.
Isn't it interesting that like you would imagine from a 30,000 foot view that a AAA gigantic studio like Bungie would like have a complete immovable, unchangeable vision for what Destiny would be?
No, it's not like that at all. It changes,
but it's not like that at all.
Yeah,
it's like Destiny is almost like the video game world's most fun social experiment, because it came out and it's continually evolving and shaping based on continual community
like the release
feedback.
of Destiny 1 was like, it was kind of a crapshoot, right? It's like, I don't even know if Bungie really knew what they had, and they were kind of like playing it by ear and kind of reacting to the player base, and they hit some stuff out of the park, like Trials of Osiris was just like mind-blowingly good. And then the Taken King really spoke to the hardcore players, the players that stuck with Destiny 1 through the whole year. And then Rise of Iron, I think it did that again. But then Destiny 2, it kind of like all those players that were really happy with the Taken King and somewhat with Rise of Iron were like, well, wait a minute, this game's not for us anymore. Like you made a game for an entirely different group of people.
They made a game for the group of people that said they didn't like vanilla D1.
Yeah. And then and now you've got a game where the people who love Trials of Osiris, like, don't have a home. A lot of the people who like PvP at all don't have a home. You know, the people who fell in love with Destiny 2, launched Destiny 2, which there are a lot of people, they don't have a home because they feel like the game is way too hardcore and the time investment is insane. You know, every time they change the game, they change the audience too, and like the audience,
and the audience is kind of reflected in the annual pass stuff too, right? Because with the Season of the Drifter, I enjoy Gambit because I'm a masochist, but I have plenty of friends who are like, they haven't played any of the new season because it's mainly focused on Gambit, and like they just don't enjoy Gambit, so they're holding out for the content that they want, because Destiny is like, there's just so many things to it now. PvP, raiding, Gambit, like gear collecting, like it's kind of all over the place. But
and then if you want to level up, you're kind of forced to do all of it, even if you don't like some certain parts of it.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think
actually,
for D3, sorry, Fran, didn't mean to cut off you or your.
No, I wanted to sort of straight your point though, which is like yes, they are. To me, they're experimenting with a bunch of different things, and they certainly it is catered to a certain type of player this season, and last season was different. I definitely think that's a bit of a weakness, because like you need every season ideally to cater to all your current players instead of losing some for say 3 months or whatever. But I was just thinking about the other rumor that's out there is that supposedly for Penumbra and all that we know a 6-person activity is coming. We don't know what it is. The rumor, and again, no major spoilers here, but the rumor says that it's wave-based combat similar to Prison of Elders with some puzzle solving in it. So like, to me, when I think about that, though, I'm like, man, we do need more of that all in each pass as opposed to like jumping around. But I don't know what that means for Destiny 3,
season,
but like
each season you're talking about.
Damn. Yes. Yeah.
Because I think that's like the biggest issue right now with the seasons is that like you have these sections that are highlighted and then the others just get like forgotten about. And Bungie's.
This is our first time we had a season pass, though. When you think about it, it is.
First time.
I've noticed a difference. The story stuff in particular, we didn't end up with another trial.
Technically, D1 Vanilla had a season pass,
but not like this.
No,
I mean,
it was considered a season pass. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think they sold it as a season pass.
Dark Below and
this is more.
Wolves,
this is a different thing, though. Really,
but you could buy that stuff separately too.
Yeah.
That was separate. Yeah.
Named similarly, but they're really, in reality, they're completely different things.
Yeah, this was that first treatment, But I really do believe in believe that they've experimented this season with the intention to like really figure out whatever's next. And I think we've seen some evolution, but that stuff takes a long time. And I think you look back to Forsaken, man, they must have felt great when they're like, yes, we knew what they wanted. And now they know that, but they're kind of buying some time to get to the next thing. And that's where I think we're all left wondering, are they still
all the time they need?
Yeah,
for real.
It might take another year and a half from the sound.
Hey, they've had 6 years of experimentation to get up to where we are right now. So look on the bright side. They have all this experience under their belt. D3 could be the best game of all time with everything they've learned over the years.
That'd be incredible, right?
Yeah, and that's really where I was pointing at. Like D3 for me feels like a culmination. If they literally need to hit the ground rocking it for D3.
It's got to hit the ground the way Taken King hit the ground, the way that Forsaken hit the ground. Yes. That's how it's got to hit.
And I feel like they have a lot of science in front of them. I feel like the lab rat looks up the scientists and say, "Are you not entertained? Can you just stop fucking with me and just make a game?" And I don't know. I feel like they're in a point where they got enough data for how they want to make a game that they can make one that's successful. And I'm really hoping that D3 is that.
Same. Competition wise, like I feel like they've had it pretty easy. Like for like looter shooter like competition, like there hasn't been a lot of strong competition, but now the Division 2 is so strong, and Borderlands 3, people are really excited about that. I mean, who knows how it'll turn out or what kind of game that'll end up being. We don't know a whole lot about it yet. But like, I wonder, like, they got to land something here. They got to land it good. Otherwise, people are eventually going to move on, right?
Yeah, I mean, third time.
Well, I think
or no, maybe not.
7 people already did move on. They already did from the first test. That
true.
is the first big issue we faced was people moved on after the first year. I mean, I had people, we see them out there playing new games. You know, some people moved to Fortnite, for example, different, but they just moved on. And it was hard to get them back. I'm like, dude, did you play Forsaken? I even had people that were like crazy religious about how they played that I played with, that I would play raids with and count on them. And I was like, you'd really like it. And they were like, I'm over it now. And sort of they got burned so bad that it's hard to bring it back. I was surprised that Forsaken couldn't do it.
Would that same person, though, if they heard that there was D3 coming, be interested?
I think they would liven up because it has the number 3 on it at the time.
And that,
whereas
honestly,
I thought Forsaken would do that, but it didn't.
I feel like, because Forsaken is technically a continuation of D2, and D2 definitely burnt a lot of people in their taste. They're like, what the hell was Bungie thinking? I'm not ever coming back to this because of that. And I think they've built up enough of a player base and enough of a franchise that a D3 release would definitely bring in a lot of numbers. It's just, are they going to be able to land it? Are they going to be able to stick that landing and make a great game that would make all those people suddenly want to invest time in it? And if they don't, being burnt, if D3 burnt the same people that it burnt D2, then I think that'd be the nail in the coffin. So that's why I think they really have to take their time and nail that one. Because
I got a text message after D2, like probably like November after D2 launched, when like the press was just really just beating up Bungie and Destiny 2, who said, I'm really glad I raided with him all the time in D1, and he's like, I'm so glad I didn't buy D2. Like, this game is just, like that. I don't think you can win that kind of person back, right? Like, they're just not coming back.
Yeah. I think it's going to be tough. And there's so much competition now. Like, I know we'll probably talk about it on the show later, but man, like, you got to look at Division, and this is the path we've seen, right? Go back now, play Borderlands, and you're like, wow, without Borderlands, where would Destiny be? Now you look at Division 2, and you're like, where would that be without Destiny? And everyone learns, but meaning there is so much competition. Mm-hmm. That's what's
and then you look at
very different.
How quickly a game can implode on itself. That how many times people were talking about Anthem and how little of a life it had, right? Like, people are already putting the nail in the coffin on that. And
hey.
I mean,
I'm looking forward to the Stronghold and the Shaper Storm, the Cataclysm.
I am too.
I'm sure. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're going to pull it out.
One last hurrah.
It's my favorite broken game of 2019.
Tons of people were saying that about Destiny, and they brought it around. I'm just saying that same attitude, how quickly people descended on that game and said it's done, right?
Yeah. And
I don't know.
Anthem's probably not the best example because like it has a lot to pull together. But I know what you mean is that like the good news is like look at Destiny. People have said, the people that get mad at it or never played in the first place, they're like, dead game, screw you, burn me, Bungie. We said that with the first Destiny. Mm-hmm. Look at us today. It's one of the strongest shared world type communities out there. The gameplay polish and experience is really fantastic. Expectations are too freaking high. That's the other part of it. Even by us. Like, we go back and now we just want Forsaken. That's the better you do, the worse it's going to get. Because now, like, first of all, I already am used to it. So you got to do better. But second of all, I expect it every time there's a new update. And it's like, it's a pretty tough situation to win. And that's at least where I've been coming from is when I go in, play Season Pass that I paid the $30 for over now all these months. Like, I'm not mad if I don't play Reckoning and Prime. I'm like, oh, I see why people like it. It's not for me. Yes, I wish there was content for me, but I'm not like surprised. It's not a full-fledged, release. Destiny 2, however, that was a much different story. And I don't think they'll make that mistake again.
Not only is there really good competition out there in terms of like other great games to play, there's competition in that a lot of those games are becoming free to play. Like when Apex came out of nowhere, they're like, here's this crazy new multiplayer BR game, really polished, very fun. Oh, by the way, it's out right now. By the way, x2, the game is free.
That's my favorite price.
What?
You can almost see Call of Duty, like Black Ops 4, just like poof. You could almost see the entire population that played the Blackout just go.
Blackout was like meanwhile trying to like screw their players over with like loot boxes. Like they were literally like
they were trying to
that weekend announcing new ways to fuck their
it's a dicey business model for sure when they do the blackout tactic, but doing it the way that Apex did it, that's a perfect example of the business model done right, because the game is, I'm sure, profitable. People spend money on it because all that stuff is cosmetic and it's really cool and people want it. But at the core, you have free gameplay. Yeah. Bungie, make it free. I'm just kidding. But like,
free loot
Bungie
boxes.
has their model. Bungie has their model. They do well by it. But you're right that there is a ton of competition out there, especially more options coming to the market where it's like, hey, it's free to play or it's cheaper because they're offering a different experience. You know,
I'll be honest.
Have you guys talked?
I really hope like that. If Borderlands 3 comes out, I mean, obviously it's coming out at September 13th.
It will.
That's been confirmed. But if we had,
you're scaring me.
If we had like a Comet DLC hit at the same time, I mean, yikes.
That would be bad timing. That would be very bad timing.
That would. But at the same time, as Destiny players, we've come to expect September to have something every year. We've been conditioned as a player base now, and
that is true.
The only thing that I really worry about is the backlash that's going to happen from no actual future, like no September release from the Destiny community, because we have been conditioned, just straight up.
Yeah, but the backlash,
I'll deal with it.
Like
I'll break tradition.
We're like, we're not the players that are suddenly review bombing because we're pissed off for saying, oh, we're going to pirate a game now because we don't want to play on this platform or some crap like that. Like we're sensible in that sense that like we understand the game has to have some time to develop.
Yeah. I agree with you that it could, of course, because it goes back to what I was saying. The expectation's so high, the conditioning, so people might get negative when they realize, it's just an annual pass, and they're going to judge it based on Forsaken, regardless. Even though they're trying to rebrand and say, no, it's a season pass. Try not to get you to overset your expectations.
You can only buy the season pass on the Epic Store.
Then you can use my creator code.
Oh, God.
Well, Fran Mirabella.
New drama in the game.
Got him. But anyway, where I was going with it, like, of course, people are going to be mad. It's the same people who watch the show and say, oh, Frans on sub. I hate that guy. But then they're in the comments next week and they come back because inevitably there's a lot of talk. That's all I'm saying is you get mad. The brand power that is Bungie and Destiny is still so strong that if you come out with a great, something in 2020, I'm not really that worried about it. I think you do more damage when you do what happened to Destiny 2. You try to come out with something that 100%. You put so much into, and you burn them. It's better to like disappoint them with not enough and come back with something big than it is to say, we've got something big, and you're like, ugh, that's a miss. So, I don't know.
A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Shigeru Miyamoto.
Oh, that's a Miyamoto. Well, there you go.
And I agree. We are conditioned. Tefty's right. Like, September rolls around the corner and everyone's like,
what's that new D?
I feel like he said that quote.
but I'll wait.
When he was like making SNES games before like the internet existed.
Yeah.
Because now
it's an older
game gets patched.
True. Definitely an older, The motto of the gaming industry now is just, F it, put it out, we'll fix it, we'll patch it. Put it out now. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, I personally, I got to be honest, because I take a year off, so I'd be fine with it. Like, I want more Destiny, but like, I want to play Borderlands, like Def was saying, and it's kind of nice. I bet, like, Sekiro's out. I'm trying to play that game. It's gonna take forever, and that game, man. And plus, I'm trying to keep up with Division too. There's so much to play. I'm not really worried
right now. And in September, there's going to be a huge PvE game. There's obviously people who play Destiny that aren't into Borderlands, and there's a huge PvP side of Destiny players that aren't going to be interested in Borderlands because there's no PvP in Borderlands. So there's that aspect of it. But like the people who really like loot and are like ravenous about that type of content, the PvE, making a build, getting loot, legendaries, all that stuff, like Borderlands is going to pull a huge portion of that population over.
Yeah,
definitely.
For how long though? I mean, we don't know. Is Borderlands 3 going to be a live service game, or is it going to be more like Borderlands 2?
They said, I believe,
we don't know, but
they said they have a year of DLC content, like story missions.
So it's going to be more like Borderlands 2 then.
I think. Yeah, I don't want to be quoted on that because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not sure what all has been released and talked about so far.
Yeah, I don't think they talked about anything beyond like the basics so far. So maybe it has that, and Teft clearly knows, but
I don't. I wish I knew.
What else do you know, Tefty?
I would love to be in the know.
Spill it. But Anyway, I'm not worried about it. I'm more interested to see, and I was going to ask you guys, have you talked about how Bungie is reacting to what you were talking about with Apex and free to play, and it again takes me back to what was at the end of the Vidoc. If we want to be a live, reactive game, what does that mean? How does it evolve past being just Forsaken and Season Pass and whatever? Do we think it? And do you think do you think they're working on a battle royale experiment in the background? Do we think they might go free to play? Like maybe they're
getting rid of PvP.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I think the closest they get to that, Fran, is not I don't think they do battle royale. I think the closest they get to that is something that Holtz brought up a while back, where there's elements of the open world where players fight each other.
That's another one of the rumors is they're going to lean into like an open world PvP VE kind of thing.
Yeah,
interesting.
I think that would actually be cool. Like a Dark Zone-esque, whatever it is, because that is
very different
how they handle it. Yeah, it's not 100 people ever fighting each other.
Yeah,
but I do think they're moving in somewhere in that direction. The biggest point I was wanting to make there was that I do think they're probably going to experiment with some free to play. Like I can imagine a world of like how we have Season Pass now and the rest is free. If you have Destiny 2, maybe we see a world where that part's just free now.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: D2 vanilla 100% should just be free to play. Like there's no reason.
It has been in the past. Like
they've made it free in the past. There's no reason today, right now, that you can't just like go on and play vanilla D2. Because if you like it up to that point, then you're obviously going to like the rest of it and be enticed to spend $30 or whatever to get the rest or whatever. But like having an entrance fee right now for the base game, there's just no reason.
Yeah, but that's an old game. Do you agree with that sentiment for like a new game, or you just mean when you have an old game situation like this?
I really think that free to play online services really are the future for that type of stuff, and I think D3 should move into that model, especially if they want to sell us skins and they want to have Eververse actually be something that continues. Like, it's still annoying if you pay $60 and then still have to like buy loot boxes and have RNG for those things that drop for you.
I completely disagree. I don't think that the free to play model can exist in a looter shooter because you're always going to be weighing, should this be a loot drop or should we charge for this?
I don't know. Warframe has
much rather. What's that?
I said Warframe has to deal with it, right? I don't play Warframe. Mm-hmm. I wish I had.
I don't either.
But it's free to play, right? So,
what I want is the stuff that's in Eververse now to be like available, like in activities. Like I hate that they hold that stuff back. And a lot of seasons, it's the best stuff in the game, but it's held back behind these other transactions.
I don't think that's a free to play problem. I think if the game was free to play and brought in a bunch of players and they held the code of honor of not having any actual drops be behind a pay to win type of situation, then
right. But what are you going to sell? You got to sell something.
Cosmetics.
Right. So I'm of the opinion that I'd rather have those cosmetics be like loot drops because I'm here for a looter shooter.
That's because the loot drops right now are like lackluster.
That's true.
So if they had an actual interesting sandbox for looting, with actual horizontal progression,
I feel like they're always going to be torn though, because like in Division 2 right now is you have some cosmetics that are you can purchase, and you get some that are available in the world. Like, where's the cutoff point for that? Like, if I buy a $60 game, this is why I have so much trouble with with microtransactions in the first place. Is if I bought a $60 game, I want like a full and rich experience for my $60 or $80 or $100. But once you start like having DLCs come out where half the loot is in the game, but half the loot is hidden behind microtransactions, I'm like, well, I'd rather just pay you another $30 up front and have all that stuff in the game to make the game more fun instead of just having it at a store somewhere.
I might agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the free-to-play model can definitely work for a certain genre of game, but like, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Bungie can figure out a way to somehow get the best of both worlds. Because I do agree with Tefty that it would be really cool and good for the community if, there were some kind of lower bar, some free-to-play aspect, because the community would grow and that would be fantastic. But I don't, I just don't know how the model would work. And I think we have a fairly good model right now, except for the fact that there's a lot of things hidden and tied up in the Eververse, which get really irritating and stuff. I don't know. It's kind of a messy situation. It's hard to know what the best model would be moving forward.
It just seems like if they solve the actual loot problem right now of having plenty to actually chase for and having horizontal progression with that loot, then you can sell those cosmetics behind microtransactions and it's okay because like you're still getting rewarded when you play and have lots of stuff to chase after. But as it is right now, a new season hardly brings that much loot for you to chase. The majority of the stuff to chase after is the cosmetics from Eververse.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's I feel like that's where you can maybe get the benefit, which is like, meaning imagine a world where it's whatever, it's all free. But sure, you do have to buy like a lot of these cool ornaments. But there's a bunch of other stuff to earn. But ornaments, for the most part, if you got them, and maybe some even, shaders and stuff, like you buy them to look cool. But like then maybe you widen your player base, right? And then can support that versus how it's, to your point, I think Fallout was, it's so split. And you know what I mean? And like maybe you could clean that up by having like, look, I'm not saying the game should be free or whatever, but maybe through a couple tiers, you got your free to play, your season pass, and then, the cosmetics, purely cosmetic purchases. I feel like something there could work maybe. Not that I'm opposed to, I'll spend $60 on Destiny 3 too, as well, but like I'm struggling to understand what that is in this new world of what they've been doing and what other people are doing. Like you look at Division, right? And Division 2 is smart because you just buy Division and then this season pass is a year of free content.
Yeah.
So
because they don't want to split the player base. But you see,
exactly, which is super smart.
Yeah, and I think I guess that's why I look at Bungie and how they could both increase their player base and also stop splitting their player base by adopting some of these models, because that hurts the game, honestly. And a lot of people don't really want to try something. They don't want to try out a game and get burnt by their purchase, and when they've heard so much press about these things. And it goes back to like vanilla Destiny 2 should absolutely be free to play, because a lot of people would try it out and be like, "Oh, I actually like this game. This is cool. I'm gonna buy the rest of the content." So I feel like the player base could be bigger.
To your earlier point, can you imagine, right? If like, you know what, like right now, Prime and PvP and everything is just free to play. Can you imagine the community that would probably be there? It's free, and actually it's a very quality experience. I'm not saying with the current structure that would have made sense financially, but who knows? Like, because the opposite is happening. That like, I don't know how diverse is it really out there when you go play Prime on PC. My guess is you're going to run into a lot of the same teams and stuff. Certainly in comp you do, right? So that's the other side, And when I saw Apex's numbers, and granted it was a huge bet, but instead of being a game that was 1 million or 2 million players for a while, and maybe they drop off because it's a $60 experience with a few maps or whatever, it's 30, 50
that is
whatever.
Part of the question though, Fran. Like you just said, it's a huge bet, right?
Oh yeah,
these AAA games cost money to make, right? And you're gonna have to get it publishers or people to invest in it. How do you invest in that kind of gamble, right?
2 words: Pete Parsons. Got plenty of money, dude. Come on, Pete. I know you're out there. Just open up the pockets.
Pete
just does it.
That sweet NetEase money. I don't know how much they're giving him. But that NetEase money.
GoFundMe.
Does Bungie have a Patreon we could sign up for?
Dude, it could work.
I'll sign up.
Could work. No, I mean, it's true. Like, I don't know how EA, which recently even suffered layoffs and stuff, was able to make this bet that they did with Respawn, who was super expensive to get in the first place out from Activision, and that whole deal, get them set up, give them freedom. I guarantee they had a lot of freedom and huge paychecks, and Titanfall sold like okay, not that well. And then they go out and say, you know what? Yeah, make a game that you're not even going to sell. We need a battle royale competitor, and put that trust in it. I don't even know if it's paying off yet with the loot crates. My guess is yes. That they've got something, especially with the season pass too.
Yeah,
I think that's a question that a lot of people are going to look at, but not in the sense of Apex when we look at Destiny, but Division 2. The model that they put out, you buy the game, you get these DLCs for free. The loot pass, your pass for the game is free. These games are expensive to make. So they're making content for a year. They're keeping their studio alive for a year. off of. It's going to be interesting to see if Division 2 makes the profits that they think it's going to make, and I bet you that's going to influence the model that Destiny 3 takes.
Yeah, like just imagine that. It was just kind of where I was going with that thinking. We think right now of $30, but what about the battle pass? Can it have that? And I feel like something like that is going to happen. I can't put it into words either. It's hard to understand in the world that has been Destiny, which has changed so much, right? But I feel like it's coming. And that was going back again to, I feel like that was the read between the lines hint that they were giving us at the end of the vibe. So if you go back and watch it, I think you might get that.
Interesting.
They are saying it's going to change, and they're trying to tell us now that they're free from, Activision as well, that something's and expect it to be different. So I'm excited about that.
Push Eververse off the cliff. That would be the best. Right off that tower.
That was the first topic that we started talking about, was the leak. Thanks for bringing that up, Fran. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks, Fran.
I was told we never
fully.
We honestly don't cover leaks that often because they're usually leaks.
But since you were on, we thought we would. We thought we'd go into it. Briar, did we cover all of that? Is it something else we need to talk about?
I mean, there's other stuff in those leaks that get a lot more spoilery, like about like enemy races and destinations and stuff like that. So I don't want to talk about those because if you want to know about them, it's easy enough to find.
I just want to say real quick though, Dark Drinker said that was one of the exotics coming back.
Yeah,
I love Dark Drinker, so I love the idea of that coming back. I hope they evolve it into something else as well, like more than just spin an uppercut.
Maybe it'll have like the Black Talon projectile.
What if they do the Black Talon projectile, but it's like actually 360 degree, like outward from where you spin? Just
whoa,
Link from Legend of Zelda style.
Yeah, or like think about it, Tefty. You do a spin, and then if you do a full spin, it takes. You hold down your button, and it takes more energy.
Charge it up,
and you create like an area effect orb, or like something that like a ruin that falls onto the ground that creates like an area effect damage on enemies.
Create a summon.
Yeah, you just
like it.
Blam! And
how about you spin around and then you throw physically the sword itself at any enemy, kills any enemy in the game, even Callus, one hit, dead, and then you have to go, but you have to run over and go pick up.
Otherwise,
no.
You're gonna say it was like
it equips it out of your inventory when you chuck it.
Yes.
If you forget to pick it up, or you get taken to orbit after you throw it and you don't pick it up, you got to reacquire the weapon. You got to get it again.
I like it.
There it is, right there. Replayability.
I'm going to be trolling everybody. I'm going to be like, take Fire Team with me to orbit. Every time I see one of the things coming across the room.
That'd be a cool one to come back for sure, though. Everybody, that was a ton of people's favorites.
It was one of my favorite swords. I had it equipped all the time. I think it's fun to see it come back. I'd love to see how it gets affected. And
yeah, it was so powerful. It was a very cool sword, but because it was so powerful, that's why people use it. If it wasn't as powerful, it was.
And they changed it. It hit at a time where they started changing bosses, so they didn't have that like stomp that pushed you away all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like when they released that
Briar,
sword,
I'm not sure what mechanic you're referring to right now. Are you telling me there's some kind of stomp mechanic?
That 90% of the bosses have?
Enemy? What are you talking?
No
not
way.
mine, Briar.
I thought it was a lot of fun too. I would like to see it come back. Huge update out of the TWAB this week. New there's going to be a patch to the game 2.2.1 coming next week.
Big deal.
Man, there's a lot of changes here. A lot of changes to subclasses. Do we want to go through them all? Do we want to pick our favorites?
I say we go through some, and then just if anybody wants to bring stuff up on it, I think we need to talk about like the main stuff that's in the TWAB.
You want to lead the way, Pope?
Not really. You're really good at that.
Briar, you got this, man. You weren't here last week, so you got to pick it up, man. You got to pick up the slack.
All right. We're gonna start off with the Striker Code of the Juggernaut, which is the bottom path for the.
This sounds exciting.
Frontal Assault is getting some changes. They're going to increase all weapon damage for the duration of the buff, 25% against combatants, 20% against players. Duration increases from 10 to 16 seconds. Buff timer is now displayed in the HUD.
So
that's
here,
let me
the flavor text here is important. The notes. You skipped over it, but this path is all about punching enemies to get better at shooting them.
I do want to recognize that this TWAB is about 15 pages long.
It's very long.
You're going to read every page.
We're talking about a striker here. We're talking about a Titan. We're talking about the Titan class. We can save time when we're talking about the Warlocks. So
rude.
No offense.
The big thing is that the buffs there is some crazy adjustments here. So the frontal assault and being able to damage players and then have it go up against a 20% buff if you go in there and you get the melee kill. Here, I'll bring it up, but it's called that whole class, that whole bottom class is all about getting in there, mixing it up, and having your gun ready and buffed when you're done punching stuff. So it's close quarters combat. It is ultimately what I've always said Titans needed to be. All about being up front and center and then getting buffs to keep them there.
Do you know what it sounds a lot like? Go ahead.
I was just going to say how dirty that buff is. Like, I don't think people fully understand yet. There's going to be a lot of Titans flying around next week because you get the shoulder charge, you get the kill.
Well, shoulder charge is top. Isn't shoulder charge top tree?
Is it okay? So you get the melee kill, and you get you get a buff to all your weapons for
everything.
16 seconds. Okay, that's 16 seconds, and you get 20% for PvP
20% damage in PvP.
That is a rampage stack level 2. The rampage
in the duration
in PvP. It's a free rampage level 2 for 16 seconds.
Wow.
But the best part about it is this knockout piece. Melee damage bonus increases from 25 to 60%. So once you trigger knockout, your next melees are you just keep going, man. If you can keep hitting shit, you keep killing stuff with your fists. And now also triggers once you've dealt 60% damage to a target.
It's not consumed after one melee attack anymore.
Right.
Really. So you just keep doing it.
You just keep punching stuff, man. Oh, man.
That's nutty.
You don't even have to kill things. You don't have to kill it. It reminds me of what they did to Warlocks. So 60%, right? So, or shield pop. But do you know how Warlocks had that melee that when they hit somebody, they would immediately get an overshield? I was like, what the hell? Titans have to kill something to get that.
That was D1 Sunsinger.
Yeah, D1 Sunsinger. They just had to just like swipe you with their dress, and then they had an overshield.
I used it for tickle. It was awesome for that.
They just had to just tickle you, and then go, and they're like, "Oh, I've got an overshield," and you're like,
you're hating on that.
Why does your Warlock sound like Michael Jackson?
I'm not gonna wait a second.
It's a close
time out.
It's not a dress.
I'm not gonna stand here
typing anger
and listen to you naysay the Warlock Destiny 1 Fire Shield, which was not a big deal, nearly compared to where Shoulder Charge was at for so long. Which I was on a tirade for so long, being like, please. This dude, 90-degree shoulder charge out of midair, and the Titans are like, it's not a problem. And you're gonna complain about fire shield.
Fran, if you're wearing a dress and you're caught slipping, you should be knocked the hell out with a shoulder charge. That's just the way it is.
Mr. Daddy Titan over here. All right.
I'm just saying.
Press 1 in the Twitch chat right now. Press 1 in the Twitch chat if you're a Warlock and you resent Pope's smug, rude attitude.
I'm
a hunter now, primarily. Warlock at heart, hunter.
Press 1 in the chat. Press 1 in the chat if Ikoro Ray would destroy, slap him around.
The fact is that being a Titan, I feel like the classes are actually expressing what they should be. With knockout, Code of the Juggernaut, critically wounding an enemy or breaking their shield increases your melee range and damage. Yes, you should. You're a Titan. Thank you.
Yeah. But look, leave
the fluffing to somebody else.
Class arguments aside, if you do play Titan primarily, how do you feel about this? Like, is it going to be OP? Is it needed?
This is going to be crazy powerful.
You know what I see is like Brawler Arc Week, or Arc Brawler. You go with 21% Delirium. Can you imagine? Like, you run up, slap one, and then get ×3 tally with the Delirium. Oh my god. That's gonna shred. Actually, I guess
you're
heavyweight
actually
would
gonna
be better.
have. You're actually going to have range with knockout where you're actually going to not be sitting there with your T-Rex arms. You're actually going to be able to hit stuff. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. I think it's
Wait, did they say that?
I'm happy for Titans.
Wait, did they say there was some change to that?
Yeah,
range?
They're buffing the range.
Oh, I didn't catch that one.
So with it, you get increased range and damage. And it doesn't, and it's so you're not going to have to waste an exotic slot just to get a decent melee.
Shout out to Bungie, by the way. Look at the TWAB. Look how many numbers are in the TWAB. They're not like, we make you a little stronger for a little while. How much longer? You figure it out. It's like,
that's your job, Fallout.
20%. Yeah, they're putting me out of a job. No, but I appreciate it.
With knockout going from 3 to 5 seconds, I don't think people understand. Like, I'm with you, Fallout. Looking at these numbers and playing Titan religiously, this is going to be crazy powerful, and you're actually going to be able to mix stuff up in PvP and not get slapped around by hunters and warlocks in PvP up close, which it should be. Thank you.
Booyah.
Okay. I'll be quiet.
Archstrider, Way of the Warrior, top path is getting some changes. We're going to read the notes for this one. This path thrives on striking with precision and timing and is heavily melee focused. To enhance this loop, we are giving it a bit more nuance with higher potential payout. We want to allow for more room to execute and engage with both the path to success and the benefits once you do succeed. So, two things change in Combination Blow and Deadly Reach. Combination Blow is getting bonus damage that can now be stacked 3 times. The buff increases melee damage by 60% in PvE and 22.7% in PvP. For comparison, this ability used to be 1 stack and increase melee damage by 50%. Kills with this ability now heal 40 health in addition to starting health regen.
That's cool.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Anything with health regen, I get pretty excited by.
Yeah, me too.
My favorite, this is my favorite class type actually in Destiny 2, because using Riding Flux and just going around as an Archstrider is so much fun. It's actually one of the reasons that got me to switch. I actually was a Titan at the beginning of Destiny 2 because I'd never
shoulder
made it.
pads.
Yeah, but well, it was the shoulder charges. I had to come around. I said, forget it. If you can't beat him, join him. But Destiny 1, I never made a Titan. I had 3 Warlocks to start. Wow. And I eventually moved on to have 2 Locks and a Hunter.
3 Warlocks? Pope, how triggered are you? Scale of 1 to 10.
3
Warlocks, D1.
I always knew Fran was like looking at the world just a little different than everybody else.
FM3 Warlocks.
Let me guess. Self-res all the time.
No. I mixed it up all the time. But self-res, yeah, no.
FM3 more like FML, am I right?
Dude, yeah, whatever. Pretty good. Stormcaller was so much fun when they introduced it in Destiny 1. So great for both PvE and PvP. Anyway, Archstrider's awesome. I don't know if you played as much, Tef, because I know you're a hunter.
Yeah, I love
like looking through here, it just look like it already is pretty powerful. I mean, the bottom path, which we'll talk about in a second, sounds pretty interesting to me. But at the very least, that's what the one that stuck out to me was kills with this ability now heal 40 health in addition to starting health regen, which can be pretty handy.
That's the key. That's the key aspect. Go ahead.
You know what I like about that is that in D2, historically, we've run into problems when tied to anything related to health regeneration. Remember back when Phoenix Dive for the Warlock on PC regened a buttload of health. We're like, whoa, just like the Warlock turns around the corner. They like do whatever they do. They do a little ballerina. They do a ballerina move. They do a curtsy. I think feet off the ground, and they get all their health back. They're back in the fight. And after that, we had that stupid, ugly hunter mask, which I like blotted from my brain. What was that even called? The
Worm Husk.
Thank you.
Worm Husk.
Oh yeah, crown.
Yeah, and then every 2 seconds the hunter just does a roly poly, and then full health back in the game. You want to be really careful with how you provide health regeneration to the player, and then it turned into one-eyed mask, which like you're not playing any differently. You're just going to be shooting people. You know what I mean? You have to be able to tie the health regen to like a risky play or something. And I think it works here because you have to get in there. You have to get the perk to activate. It's a big risk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be well
done. That it's not that you immediately get rewarded for that risky play. Get your 40% health, and then your health gen immediately starts to begin to regen. So it's not giving you full health. and it's giving you an opportunity. You get shot or damaged during that time, it stops your health regen, and you're dealing with 40% health. And it really asks you to go back and get that kills. Get in there, mix it up, and continue your style of play, which is an aggressive, forward-fronting, high maneuverable play. You're getting rewarded because you're up and you're bouncing around, you're moving around, you're very mobile, and you're damaging. You're getting in there, mixing it up, but there's a high risk to it because you're going to be faced with a Titan that now can melee people.
Yeah.
Arcstrider Way of the Wind, which is the bottom path, gets disorienting blow, increase the disorient distance by 50%, and increase the duration of disorient on players from 1.5 to 2 seconds.
It's going to be huge.
Focus breathing, increase dodge recharge bonus while sprinting by 100%. Combat meditation, increase bonus grenade and melee regeneration while bloodied by 25%. And lightning reflexes, increase damage resistance while dodging from 25 to 40% in PvP and 63 to 70% in PvE.
Yeah, I mean, reading through this, it's like a lot of this is just a buff. So it's not like they're introducing anything crazy, but certainly some big, number changes.
I don't know, Fran. That disorienting blow, is legit effective. And for them
in PvP, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And that to increase it, the distance by 50%. I mean, it's. I feel like that right there, that disorienting blow piece, is gonna be huge. And 2 seconds in PvP is a lifetime. It's like a long time.
And I agree, but I'd be curious, and I know they're so data driven, which I think you got to be very careful with, because sometimes the data just becomes like a dishwater average, right? But I personally don't use this one a lot in PvP. I mean, I never think about like going up and stabbing someone and disorienting them as a perk. I'd struggle for hunters out there to be, oh yeah, I use it all the time. And when I read through this, that's what I'm seeing is like a lot of these are like people I don't think are using a lot of perks all that much. Obviously, unless you're using something that you're in the middle of a super. I mean, I'm not a top tier PvP player, for example. But same for PvE stuff, like lightning reflexes, for example, right? You're harder to kill while dodging is really... So now they're increasing that damage resistance just up. And to do that 63 to... Actually, it's only up 7%, I guess. So it's not like a huge change on that one. But just like PvE, little touches.
PvP, it got a bigger...
PvP, almost, not quite double.
Can we just stop for a moment and, just acknowledge that we are getting something extremely important from Bungie right now. They are separating PvP and PvE adjustments.
That's a great point.
That is very good.
That's a very good point.
Yep.
I am completely in agreement with what they're doing right now. They're legitimately balancing them independently, and I think it's not going to break the game for them to do that.
No,
I really feel like making PvE, we've been saying it on this podcast for years, making PvE and PvP different approaches to how they balance.
Yeah, but see, it's not across everything, though. You're right. You're seeing a little bit of here and there. It's a step in the right direction. What I thought about was when I interviewed Noseworthy and Luke on stage, at the reveal, and infamously a long time ago with Destiny 2, but that was the first time I heard them talk about split tuning. And I was like, oh, sweet, they're going to do it. And then, like, to your point, I was like, wait, I don't see it that much.
It took a long time.
It's like some of the weapons have some split tuning and stuff, but this is not sort of a global feel.
But they did away with that thing, that mechanic, Fran, that was really, I thought that we were going to see more of when I heard that announcement that, effective against minions of the darkness, right? They did away with that. And that was like how I thought they were going to make guns differentiate in PvE versus PvP. But to your point, I see them focusing on some of the things that Fallout is talking about. Health regeneration, damage resistance, shielding, all that stuff, all revolving around health is where they're separating it. And I think that they're focusing that, it looks like, as the differentiation between PvP and PvE.
Yeah, but these are big enough changes. We saw that for sure with the Titan, but big enough that I think we should be both excited and worried. You know, like it could, like, meaning, for example, you think of Shinobu's Vow, 2 skip nades already, and then they're going to bring up that when you're hurt, if I'm getting this right, you're going to have bonus grenade. Is that damage or charge? Increased bonus grenade and melee. No, regen. Yeah. So it's going to increase by 25%. So, I mean, you already have people spamming a couple skip nades, for example. Then you put this on. Now it's another 25% on top of it. Is that going to be annoying or not? I don't know. It's always hard to say until you get out there. I think it's the end, call it the tail end of these seasons. We're moving towards something new probably in September in terms of a bigger step. So, like, I don't mind the experimentation right now personally. I don't play it every day.
Anything to change up the meta and keep us and try to give us more variety.
Yeah, but the only caveat I do want to add, which is I know they've screwed stuff up and people feel like they don't address it fast enough. So I understand that, and I am in agreement.
Definitely, that's a big issue. But do you really think a lot of this things are going to be changed heavily come September for a new season pass?
I am speculating that at least we're leading into like.
Fingers are crossed.
Sorry, somebody left me a note that my mic was cutting it. Not, is it for you guys?
Yeah, a little bit from Discord.
It is a little bit.
Yeah,
it's rare.
Really? Okay,
yeah. Don't worry.
Strange.
I don't know why it's doing it.
It's not you. It's Discord.
It's probably Discord. Yeah.
I hope that it is. I just had to. Mic broke, so I'm terrified.
Just did it right
Let me know. I know. I literally got triggered when I saw that. I don't
out.
No, you were
Sorry,
like, I just had to.
Oh,
so, yeah,
no.
we couldn't hear what you had to do.
Please, no.
Relax.
Let me know if there's a problem. What were you just saying? What was the question? I'm totally
well,
triggered.
I was saying,
are they going to change it?
Yeah, you were speculating that there's going to be some big change come September and actual shifts and like they're getting us ready for something. I don't know. I
wouldn't say big, but I was just going to say I feel like we do need a brand new season of something. I feel like then Forsaken for quote unquote 2 years is the way I'm thinking about it. I think we'll get this year of getting through, season of opulence. And then they'll reintroduce some bigger sort of meta changes along with seasonal pass stuff. And that's all I was thinking about. I mean, I don't think it's going to be super drastic, but they got to do something. Don't you think? Do you really think it's just going to be more of this for another 12 months?
Maybe.
Wow.
I mean, historically and how they've treated it so far, I wouldn't be surprised if like their main focus and the things that they're actually developing and putting serious effort on are D3.
Yeah. Well, it is true. I guess I was just thinking maybe the sandbox would get significant changes then versus right now.
It's like the discussion that went on with PvP and how suddenly people were like, oh my God, is PvP actually getting cut from the game because they're not talking about it? And people have left that have been developing, working on PvP stuff, and then they actually had to come out and make a statement. Deej had to say on a stream that PvP isn't going anywhere. The Crucible isn't going anywhere. But like, they're not, it seems, reading between the lines, it's that they're not doing anything big for PvP or the sandbox.
It's not prioritized.
Yeah, it's the sandbox, PvP, and big changes like that aren't really coming for D2 anymore. Doesn't feel like they're doing adjustments like this, which is good.
Yeah, but
major sweeping changes, I don't think.
I didn't say major sweeping change, but I feel. Yeah, maybe I said it in a way that I didn't mean to think that it'd be very huge, but I would expect it to be more than these monthly updates. But yeah, maybe I'm setting my personal expectation too high. But maybe we're also all at the bottom, apparently. We just think nothing's going to happen in September. Like, what's happened? What happened, guys? Who are it's interesting because we're not. It goes back to the earlier part of the discussion of we set expectations kind of high, and I think we're now to the point to accept, like, well, we know we're not getting Forsaken or Destiny 3, so it'll be more of this. But we almost it sounds like everybody's expecting another, season of Gambit Prime and some PvP stuff, and like I don't know. I feel like they've got to do something to set the course for the year, at least.
Do you think they could do like a season of PvP, or do you think the community would react poorly to it?
I can answer yes to both of those questions.
Yes, they would.
A poor reaction from the community, huh?
That's pretty much, you can guarantee that. Yeah.
I mean, in a way, this is the season of Gambit right now. And how has the reaction been to that? Mm-hmm. Of it being mostly focused on Gambit. How would you guys say Season of the Drifter has been received so far?
Started off well, and because it's always,
new
sunshine
stuff
and happiness when we have new things to do. And I think the people who really enjoy Gambit are very much enjoying it. And for the people who don't enjoy Gambit, it was a miss, or they have probably slowly, drifted away from the activity.
Drifted.
Drifted.
Yeah, I agree. I think, but I'm not surprised. And when I was talking to people about when it was coming out, I'm like, guys, like 2 weeks, couple weeks, that's probably what you'll consume, and then you walk away. And it doesn't surprise me, but I do feel like that's sort of what happened for a lot of people. I have a personal gripe about, and I know there was even like some Engram power drop bugs and stuff related to it, but just the grind, the barrier to entry to do anything in this season, I personally thought was way too high for the amount of content. And my worry, and it feels like that's where we are now. I said this many weeks ago now, but I was like, by the time I get past, I'm not even 680 yet. And by the time I finish that, get my set, get into Gambit Prime, like, I don't even know how many people are playing Gambit Prime anymore. Want to. And the challenge is I know you can match make, but like, I feel like it's died down so much by the time that I got there. I'm not saying to remove the grind bot, because I think it's great that we need that. My proposed solution was, it would have been nice to almost get access to all those classes right away, couple perks somehow, if you think of class loadouts, but then you grind out some top tier stuff. But that's
I mean, they did do that, right? So by the different tiers, people
but you got to earn that too, all the armor first.
Like, no, you don't. Like it was relatively. It was relatively quick when you bet your moat. You would get an armor piece, and you within reason. I mean, within a relative amount of time, if you were playing it, you got a tier 1 armor set. And then people were bitching that hey, but I'm going to end up deleting this anyway when I get a tier 3 set. And the tier 1 set was to give people access to some of the perks right away, to change up the gameplay, to be able to address it, to give people a taste, and then have people go into the tier 3 set. And now that I'm playing it, I really personally am enjoying Gambit Prime. I like it. If you're with a coordinated team, it's a freaking blast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're privileged. You have a lot of access.
I play a lot of random game modes or a lot of random match-made games, and not all of them are great. Blueberries can, take like years off of my life, and I can get frustrated with it. But since it's one like level, it's not like multiple things that it's much shorter. It's not as miserable, and it's also not as complicated, and people can apply themselves and go at it. I feel like Gambit Prime for me, and chasing the tier 3 sets, has been a great opportunity to build loadouts. And God, man, it's fun. It's fun to get the right loadouts for the different invader and sentry, and to get a coordinated team that has all 3, there are 15 on it. And that's what I
want. I'm just like, how play 25 hours just to get that, or 40 or whatever.
I'm okay with what it took me to get there. It would have been nice if my contributions week 1 to the Reckoning could, because again, it was kind of a little. I'm glad that they gave everybody a taste. They kind of warmed everybody up. Put your toe in the water, get a feel for the temperature. But it did sort of feel like, well, why bother? Because just wait till week 3, and then you can, do it then. But I wish there was more to the end game of Gambit Prime.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because there's no rank. Like, you have your own individual rank, but does that really mean anything? Like, there's nothing. You just have you have the weapons, which aren't tremendously hard to get. You have the armor. The armor is the real kind of grind. But once you have, because like I have a full set of armor, and now I'm just like, okay, now what? Like, I want to go in and fight other teams at my rank. Maybe get another title. Rank up. So, I don't know. I feel like I need more at the end.
What's really interesting is that, I would have loved to have seen something like what they just announced today with some stuff with Get Wrecked. They're running out some tournaments in the UK. It would have been great to see Gambit Prime and this this expansion piece connected with a series of tournaments or places that people could connect to, and a rank system as the final kind of end game or connection piece that you're talking about, Fallout. It's community creating something, although Bungie is definitely coming in as a partner to them. It's really cool to see these events coming out. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit later because I want to definitely plug it and spend some time on it. But they're doing a really cool tournament for Gambit Prime in the UK, and there may be an opportunity for us to bring it here, depending on how successful it is. But that paired up with a ranking system and a Bungie supported ladder in Gambit Prime, is that what you're talking about?
I mean, yeah, I just want more end game like goals to chase after. Like, because I think the titles are a really fantastic addition to Destiny. Not to to sidetrack, but every game of Gambit Prime that I have right now is just me and my friends going in and pub stomping. Like, that's what it is every time.
Yeah.
And like
all you're chasing is a win, right?
Yes, which is fun, but like
it's shallow, sure. Yeah,
it's shallow, you know, because I have all the guns, I have all the gear, I have the Dredgen title. Like I hate when people do this, but I do it all the time. Make the comparison to Halo. You know what I mean? Anybody play Halo? Like, remember PvP in Halo?
Never played it.
They were chasing, people went into PvP because you wanted the rank up. You know what I mean? There was like that rank from 1 to 50, and you get from 40 and above. And like Halo 2, like you started to get like a Halo ring as your level. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Don't you feel like we've been asking for that system in Destiny since like
we've been asking for that?
Like,
for
I was a little
really
surprised it wasn't
time.
in vanilla Destiny. Like, wait, it's not in here?
We talked about it
What
last
Halo
week.
guys?
We said last week how that's what comp needs is like a whole set of cosmetics associated with the climb to 5500. And that's one of the reasons why it becomes such a wasteland after 2100, because like the goal of climbing in that playlist
get your gun.
Just doesn't really exist.
Yeah, it's to get your gun. Comp that would have been no one plays comp after getting their gun.
Right. So Gambit Prime doesn't have those carrots anymore. It's just, are you getting a win or not?
That's interesting.
Yeah, it would have been cool to have a basic, you're right, like leaderboard, a basic called prestige system, and you're on prestige 4 now because your team's amazing.
Yes, thank you.
Stuff
Give
like
us
that.
Things to chase like that. And like
it's just prestige, but like it's just a number. Yeah.
It's a great Bungie
a great way to do it.
Such a great opportunity to give us all, because you know, titles, they could add like 50 more. You know, you could get a certain weapon skin or a certain special like combination
or by
armor
class.
piece,
what if you've mastered Sentry? You're a Sentry master.
There you go. You could get
Remember
special
what Call of Duty
emblems
used
for
to do?
prestiging. Yes, exactly.
What Call of Duty used to do, like back before they started selling all the weapon skins, that you used to earn them. Right? It's like if you got 500 kills with a weapon, you'd get like a weapon skin. And like if you got 1,000 kills, then you get like a better weapon skin, and like so on and so forth, until like you had to get like crazy amounts of kills, like 50,000 kills with a weapon, you'd get like that, you know, like gold weapon or something like that.
Yeah, that's exact. I've wanted stuff like that for a long time too.
Same.
And I saw what Apex did with I forget which the points are, but that's that really interesting system. It's not 1-to-1, but you could buy an item from the store for a skin, right? But then if you play a ton, you can buy this other version of it with those points, the crafting points or whatever, and stuff like that goes so far. You're like, oh, just imagine having a shader. You're like, that dude like played so much Gambit Prime. Look at that shader they got.
That's a nice way to modify that system, because what they've done is they've just moved that system into microtransactions. But from what you're saying is like you can still do it in microtransactions, but even if you buy that skin, you can upgrade it if you perform well. And that's cool.
Yeah.
That's real cool.
I've always
people will grind for dumb carrots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer to have a great golden carrot because it's awesome to have a really worthwhile carrot to go after. But if you give people dumb carrots, they are still going to grind.
They've done that a little bit with some of the player cards or some of the things you can get, titles you can get from completing triumphs.
And it's I applaud their efforts for doing that. It's fantastic. They need to do like a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Like how many people ran raids over and over again just to get like a shader ship or you know, just a simple token. And moving that stuff into Eververse was such a downer because like now you can't that stuff's not earnable anymore. You just buy it.
Yeah. It was similar to getting, you know, way back to when you just get Nightfall done so you could walk around, you know, the ring over your head or whatever.
Yeah.
We just need a lot more of that, but prestige level stuff. Because I agree, the title's something, but even then, It's not like when don't you have to inspect people, or do you see it in the tower?
No, you see it in the tower, but
you do. So that's
titles,
good.
yeah.
The problem with the title though is just it's such a large landscape to cross to get one of those goals. Whereas like it'd be awesome if you saw somebody with some sort of crazy vortex gold skin that was doing some animation. You're like, well, you can only get it if you get 50,000 kills with that gun. And it's like, wow. I mean, that's effort. Like that stuff, along with other types of cosmetics that you get from actually doing the activities. So then you show them off like that. Those are interesting carrots.
Been doing that forever.
My vanity moment.
Doing it.
Yeah, my vanity moment in Destiny 1, actually one of the many, because tower casuals it's a big thing that I do. Is I had in the tower, I just have my very special tower casuals I would wear, but you didn't have to earn those. You had to save your Born Spark warlock gear or whatever. But anyway, I was going to say the hard mode shader that you got from Wrath of the Machine was so cool. It was like this red glowy, so cool. And I remember because it was hard to get all the armor set too. And I remember when I got it, because by the way, I had I think 3 warlocks at the time, or at least the 2. So my chances were way up, and I got to walk around like that for a few weeks. And so the next version of that, well, first of all, we just need that again more frequently. But the next version is if you're somebody like Fallout here and you're like, dude, I've played so much Prime and I played so much this way, but you see them walking around with this thing that's super rare. I think that would just be a great way to evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they need.
Wow, we sure got off the TWAB, didn't we?
We did, yes. But I just want to highlight.
I don't care.
Fallout just dropped out again. There we go. Fallout's back.
Why?
He's out.
Happen?
I don't know.
You know what? Man. It's better than your mic cutting out. We can still hear you.
I just want to highlight.
My mic's cutting.
I want to highlight the fact that
what's going on.
The thing that we're really highlighting though is that it's the in between stuff. It's not. There is long tail chases in there in the game right now. Yeah. They definitely exist.
Yeah, they have some.
It's the stuff in between that is essentially a wasteland. There's nothing there for, like I said, when you go into comp after you hit 2100. That climb to 5,500 is non-existent for rewards. And that's why a lot of people are like, well, I don't care. I already got a not forgotten. I'm not getting anything else in there for this season. So why would I stay?
You don't need to, let's be honest, you don't need to get any other gun.
Yeah.
Like, what you have not forgotten, you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain guns that they've kind of broke PvP with. And I know that that's like not a very popular opinion to have, but because it just kills the variety within the game. And so like every sweaty player you see out there is going to be running Dustrock Blues, Not Forgotten,
right?
And Word of Coil. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Meta's one thing, Pope.
Super mutts.
Sure. But like the population is suffering heavily because the desire to get those in-between rewards, or I mean, there are no in-between rewards. I
understand.
And that's why that, like, I think a lot more people would at least just play it if there was those things to get each season. And it's not there right now after you get your recluse. So.
Yep. Right. But we need more.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Like
more
I think
of everything.
Yeah. But like meaning like on let's call it the Fallout level, you want some really, really rare stuff. Yeah. Like really rare stuff, which I think is needed and maybe is not even done that in the game. But the titles they're there. But vanity items, boom, that would be amazing, right? People walk around. But again, I still reflect on getting some of the stuff out of the raids and like just some pure vanity stuff. Like I'm thinking about how few people have ultimately done Scourge. Like obviously if you're in this season, you've done it, but if you've done it a certain amount of times, if there was a hard mode or whatever, that you should be able to walk away with something that can really show off that you were there and got it done. And like meaning armor sets aren't enough for me. I want something else I can show off.
Yeah. The armor sets don't have the same pizzazz or
maybe it's not even
they're not even they don't look as notable as they did in Destiny 1.
Yeah. Things changed when you knew your loot was going away.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
that is true. The motivation is less if you know that in a year you'll be like, well, I'm just gonna start from scratch anyway.
Guys, we better finish that TWAB because we're already an hour 44.
We're only on page 2 of 15.
Not that impressive.
Let's just skip the whole section on warlocks, right?
Hey, oh god dang, Pope. Unreal, the disrespect.
Stormcaller, the Super Trance Super top and bottom path is getting a damage scaling update, so it scales up to 150% over 5 seconds. of continuous use, and they're going to update the FX as well.
They had the audio to support. That sounds cool. That got me thinking about how Cold Heart goes, and it sounds like they're going to maybe give it this like rising tide kind of sound. And
nice. I like that idea.
Love it.
So damage scales up. I'm trying to remember. What is that saying exactly? Damage scales up to 150%. What is it already? Is it just 100 now?
100, yeah.
It's at 100 now. So it's saying it goes
yeah.
up another. So maybe it does 10% more each one of those 5 seconds or something. I don't know. I'm making that part up, but maybe it's boom, boom, boom. And you get to that top. But that sounds fun. That's the only update on that one.
Yeah. The attunement of conduction, the chain lightning melee can now chain up to 5 times, up from 1. And each individual target can be hit twice.
Yeah.
Chain damage decreased from 50 to 31 damage per chain hit. Arc web can now chain to many more targets, many more targets, and back and forth between targets. The amount of chaining varies based on use, and I will leave it to you all to discover. Increase the chain range from 10 meters to 12 meters. Chain arc damage now reduces the cooldown of your grenade. Works with arc web chains and chains from... Jesus Christ.
You got it.
Chain web is getting better.
He's trying. You were only at 2 more bullet points, man. Earn 3%
Basically,
energy.
chain web. It's getting better. That's the takeaway. Yeah.
Chain web getting better.
The end of the TWAB. All right, this is making the lightning chain better. Come on, scroll down.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah, we're still on Warlocks though.
Yeah.
That was
The Stormcaller attunement of the elements. The bottom path. Electrostatic surge. Increased bonus regeneration rate of Rift by 600% per nearby friendly guardian. That's big. That's a huge bonus.
That is.
It sounds
insane. And it's a big boost, and you'll definitely feel it, but it was previously very low. Extend Rift duration from 15 to 20 seconds, and added a UI notification for when the buff is active. Arc Soul, extended duration by 50%. Arc Buddy, more Arc Buddy.
Yeah, Arc Buddy.
Yeah, Arc Buddy. So are you guys seeing Arc Buddy in PvP right now?
No. I see him around every once in a while.
Occasionally, but not really. No.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen
the new exotic one where you you eat the grenade ability and you summon like the hyper on crack Arc Buddy. That's really fun.
Cracked out buddy.
Yeah, crack buddy.
Crack Buddy.
New and improved crack buddy.
Jeez.
I will
Bath
eat your
salts,
face
buddy.
off. Bath salts, buddy.
The Voidwalker Nova Warp Super reduced initial charge detonation energy cost by 20%. Reduced energy cost of holding the charge detonation by 7%. Reduced time required to fully charge the charge detonation from 0.9 seconds to 0.7 seconds. Reduced dark blink cost by 20%. Increased base super duration from 18 to 22 seconds.
It's a 4-second increase. I don't know
why
they
walking back some of the changes they made last time.
You gotta read the notes in this one. You just have to. It's a good laugh.
Or you could just read them and instead of telling me.
Clearly, we swung a bit hard when we hit this previously. This should serve as a nice middle ground to settle into.
This is going to make everybody who loved the Nova Warp and felt the sting of that nerf kind of chuckle a little bit. Clearly, we swung a bit hard when we hit this previously. They made it from like completely overpowered to just
that thing disappeared
like completely
overnight.
neutered. Yeah. But yeah,
Dawnblade Everlasting Fire perk. Tune the amount of super gain from Everlasting Fire. Initial return increased from 10 to 13% super energy. Return then decays linearly over the course of 30 kills from 13 to 0.75% return per kill. So the more people you kill, the less super you get back for.
Diminishing returns.
Yeah. But you get more at first. Okay. Catalysts are coming back.
Well, Briar, what about the nerf to Spectral Blades?
Yeah, what about Spectral?
You may be asking.
That nerf, though.
What about it?
Well, we know
that's actually what they said in the
but Bungie knows that it's out of bounds currently. They're acknowledging that Spectral Blades may be a little bit powerful right now, maybe a little hot. They're working right now on a few tweaks to bring it back in line. We'll let you know the details once we've finished playtesting and tuning to lock in on what changes will be. Now, given their turnaround time, knowing turnaround time for play for classes, what are we looking at here, Tefty?
I think we can see like an early nerf 2020, right? That should be
2021.
I think we get notes about it, maybe like the end of 2019 about that. Yeah, those changes.
Yeah. It is telling that they have this huge subclass update, and that one clearly, which they agree, they swung too hard, but they couldn't get it ready for this update. It just really tells you either the infrastructure to make these changes, which we see always seems to take a while. There's so much testing and vetting and data, or who knows, maybe some of the recent departures and some of the shifting that they're doing to prepare is it makes all of these changes kind of challenging. Some of these other changes may have been in the making for a long time, and Spectral Blades, well, that only changed, was that the beginning of this season? Or no?
Spectral?
I can't remember. Yeah, when they brought it, I can't remember. No, it's been a while.
It was a week before, something like that.
Okay, but it's not been that long ultimately, and so now they're reacting to that still.
So Spectral Blades really is like about the other classes that challenged it being nerfed. So then, leaving Spectral Blades in a place where it can just dominate. So to me, it was seen as taking away some of the elements of other weapons that could and classes that could counter it, and allowing it to reign supreme.
What you said, Fran, though, is interesting because it does kind of indicate the lead time of these patches, right? It's like
exactly
they didn't start this patch like after the Spectral Blades were known. They started it before that, possibly while they were still working on the last patch.
Yep.
Yeah, possibly because. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, why wouldn't they have been prepared? Yeah. So, I think just the time to test. They do look at a lot of data as well. I love it. Mike Wizenvest, I need it.
In all likelihood, it's probably going to be a June, July update
with Opulence. I agree with you.
Yeah, once Opulence hits, they're going to be like, we're finally nerfing Spectral Blades. They've been running around a little too swipey. Going to be fixing that.
Too swipey.
A little too much swippity swipe going on in there. Dialed that back.
That was an actual
swiping happening.
Tefty managed to get an internal email, Bungie, that was subject swipey.
How did Tim know about the swipe? The swippity
Dylan,
swipe?
if you're listening, write that down. Oh, a little too swipey. That's good.
Swipey.
Yeah, there we go. Swipey.
Swipey, no swiping.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting that change in the summer.
It is unfortunate though, because and I don't play nearly as much as you guys, especially Fallout. You could probably chime in this too, but like when I go into comp and I use Hunter Spectral Blades, of course, when I go in there's a lot of happening, aren't there? Like there's a lot, right? Okay. Supermod Spectral Blade.
So again, I can only speak to the console
PS4
side, which is good for me because I think the majority of the community plays collectively on console, but so I don't know what's going on in the PC land of comp, but console comp, every game,
there's a lot.
Just like, oh, good, 4 Spectral Blades.
Yeah,
okay,
it's not that different. I mean,
they all have on 5 super mods. Yeah, I'm glad that hasn't been addressed yet. That's super cool.
Yeah,
and look, you have to do it, and.
Now here's the problem.
The pudding. I play comp as a Spectral Blade Hunter with 5 super mods.
Yeah, but all this time you've been out here repping Warlock.
Because if you
comes out finally,
you have to. I love being a Warlock, but if you go into comp and you're not a Spectral Blade with 5 super mods, you are directly putting yourself.
Love being a Warlock. I'm just afraid to do it in public.
Right. Wait, Pope, what did you say?
So I think part of the problem here is not so much that Spectral Blades is too OP or that Nova Warp was too OP or any of this stuff. Honestly, I really truly believe that the real challenge here is that the game has limited the amount of skill-based counters to supers. So when you see a super enacted most of them, 99% of them, your only recourse is to put your head kiss your own ass goodbye.
Unless you have the counter.
You just basically put on a move. You know, you're like jump off the map or run the other direction. You know, you're basically grabbing your ankles and saying, "Please, yes."
Seems like a holdout of Destiny 2 vanilla, right? It's like when they wanted the game to be more casual friendly. That's one of the changes they made. They didn't want people sniping you out of your super because they wanted your super to make you feel powerful.
Briar, you're right. It's the power fantasy, which is why they did it.
You have to, like, that's okay, because the people that were complaining about it are not going to be playing the players that can do the shit.
Right.
All right. So if you've got a quick scope sniper or some power move that will allow you to kill somebody out of a super, and the way that the matchmaking, they'll never play them. Maybe every randomly someone will get that sick sniper headshot that will take you out of your spectral blade as you're hippity hopping all over the place, completely invisible off the radar, just slicing my ass open.
Remember back in D1, it was very.
Wait,
you just stopped in mid-rant.
He's mid-rant. He's got his hands up.
Okay. If your hands are still up, okay.
No, it's all right. Keep going. You're done.
Oh, okay. I don't respond to guilt trips, so I'm going to keep going. Yeah, remember in D1, you could get killed out of a super if the other player played it well. You know, they called it babying. You know, I got babied out of my super. That happened all the time. You get sniped out of the super, shotgun meleeed with the right shotgun at the right range. But in D2, like Pope is saying, it's right. There's not enough to counter someone on a tear with a good roaming super. And that's why Spectral Blade is so rampant on comp right now, because the damage reduction, I can give you a full blast in the face with a shotgun and follow up with a melee. It's not going to kill you. You're going to kill me. So it's very difficult. You have to be really on target with your team shot.
As a matter of fact, not only are you going to kill me, but you're going to kill me and all the health and an overshield you're going to get from killing me.
That's the problem.
Make you, it's going to make you even more powerful for the next engagement, where that guy for sure is not going to be able to kill you.
That's the problem. The duration and those perks. So
it's a combination.
When you see it, but it's not the only super in the game that you can't like.
No, it's not the only super.
Right. That's why
when you go into comp, the main strategy in comp right now, from what I've seen, is to stack super mods, because it's a problem, because the damage reduction,
multi-kill, guaranteed.
It's roaming supers are very difficult to deal with, and that's why they're the best chance of you winning. So people put on the 5 super mods because there's no diminishing returns. You can put on all 5 and you get the benefit from having all 5, and that's what it is right now.
Yeah.
There needs to be more in
it's
place.
A why wouldn't you type of situation. Why would you not?
But meaning, ultimately, if they just fixed Spectral Blades to not have as long duration, and you nailed it when you said they did a lot of this stuff because the power fantasy was missing, and we went through this with a lot of exotics, where it's like in Destiny 2 year 1, we're like, I don't know, I guess it's an exotic, and then they had to fix all that up and make sure it had the power fantasy. So that, like, part of you is like, whoa, this is so cool, but like, you look at something like Spectral Blades, it was already good. I don't know what happened on that one. I remember when they came out with the patch, I was like, wait, are you kidding me? Is that right? I was like, boom. And then, I loaded up Gwizinvest, all super. And oh my God, I couldn't believe, I literally thought it was busted that week and that they were going to hot fix it out, because it was so crazy to me.
To talk about the power fantasy, because when I rant a lot on Twitter, and I'm like, please nerf the super mods in PvP, because people like to have them for PvE. I don't want to take that away from them, but please also for PvP, compound, because it's all you see. There's no variety. But then people are like, oh, Fallout, is that really what you want? Because don't you remember year 1? You want to go back to vanilla? It's like, no, because there were many differences, but other than the power fantasy of being able to tear through people with your super. A lot of people didn't like year 1.
People sitting in the back with scories.
Good Lord. That's the new super mod stack. People didn't like year 1 because it was too vanilla, especially with the weapon selection, where you had 2 primary weapons, 1 power. We missed the power fantasy of having that one-hit kill fusion.
God, man.
Sniper, shotgun, you know what I mean? So we have that now, which is fantastic. But like, there's no, if you look in the comp armor loadout, there's no variety, which is like really hurting the gameplay, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to choose to do a very slow reload, low clip count, hard to ADS, heavy sniper on your team that could possibly snipe with a skill player, snipe somebody out of their super, I feel like that is just as reward heavy quality of a choice decision for that person to load that gun to make that play as a high risk, high reward as anything. And it's just making it, it's when the problem comes in is when they make it too easy to do that. It has to be a skill-based play. You got to be able to go, somebody has to be able to look at the camera or scream into their mic, I did it, that's the moment, right? But there is no moment to that. Like your entire team needs to look at that person in that moment, coming around the corner, swippity swiping, swipe or no swiping. And you're like, they all need to shoot their, they all need to shoot their collective like asses off, or you need to match them with the super to kill it. And it's like super versus super. I get that. Super versus super, I get it. But
that's usually your only option. To your point, that's usually
so for a comp player like Fallout. I'm never gonna hit that shot, right? I'm gonna turn around and run because I'm a scared. Never mind.
Gotta watch that KD.
I'm not gonna. I'm looking after my PvE KD, or PvP. So I run the other way. But who's gonna engage that player with the super player that has skill and has the ability to make the play? Cool.
Yeah. You're dead on.
Our blade barrage.
I agree 100%.
Knock him down. But what I was going to go back to was when I went to start playing Destiny 1 Trials, I just really sucked. I was not playing a lot of PvP, and somebody decided to start carrying me through. But I learned so much about playing, and when I learned to stand my ground when an arc blade started coming at me, and I had a hand cannon and a shotgun, and when I learned to be able to not be scared and do it, that was such a nice reward because you could get through it with some good shots, by the way. You couldn't just do it every time. And that is, I feel like we all agree on that. That's kind of what's missing right now. I don't feel like I'm like, all right, I'm good enough that you can try that crap, but it's not going to work if you're good enough. Because even if you are good enough, that Spectral Blades and other ones, they're just going to chop right through you.
You'll just watch a player like you'll watch streamers playing or whatever, but you can be playing yourself, or you hear somebody on your team and they're like, they're kind of in the back of their head. They kind of like look to the way and go, oh, they pop their super. You could be on a tear, right? You're like doing your thing. You're like getting plays, and then someone pops their super and smokes you, and you're like, oh, yeah, the super. It's like, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to change the subject so we can move on a little bit. Catalyst.
Good job.
Catalysts are coming back. Catalyst. The Prospector, the Rat King, and the Hardlight are all getting catalysts from Nightfalls and Strikes, and the Soros regime is getting a catalyst from the Crucible.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited about Hardlight.
Yeah.
Hardlight. I don't know. Soros. I like Soros again too. Like I don't
Soros is great. Especially for Crucible. That's what's cool is it's coming out of Crucible. It'd probably be good for Crucible. I don't know. Yeah, if we want to speculate what these might be like.
Oh, do you know what the Hardlight
to see what they do with
catalyst
the Rat
is?
King?
Do we know already?
Wait, Fallout.
Do you shoot once you activate the catalysts? You shoot.
Oh, we
the
already know
Hardlight,
what they are.
And the color of the gun, it turns into a strobe light, and then it plays Darude Sandstorm while you shoot it.
Yes, thank you. That was a good payoff because at first I was like, "This is gonna be dumb." Oh, it was awesome.
It's gonna
awesomely
be
done
PvP for sure.
I love it. That would be amazing.
That'll
and everybody just starts dancing. Hit him with a dance party. But I'm excited about it.
I'm happy that they're finally talking about putting catalysts into the game. New ones, things that we've heard about, and we're like, what about these catalysts, man? We've like completely forgotten about them. They're really cool progressions that you added to your exotics, and it's actually a year later when they first introduced them, and they're now following form and putting those things in the game for things to chase after.
Weird how stuff kind of like disappears and comes back, isn't it? It's
right?
Like, why aren't there catalysts like all the whole time? But
yeah,
Rat King, I'm excited for Rat King because Rat King is one of my kind of like low tier favorite guns, and I'm looking forward to what they add to that.
I like the team component to that, like the trolling aspect of it.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Hey, let's all run strikes and run Rat Kings, like
yeah.
The choices.
Go ahead, Frank.
Oh, it was just finishing the catalyst point. I will still say that like there's a lot of guns in the game So I don't know that the choices are still interesting. Like, do we really need Prospector and Rat King Catalyst versus there's a lot of other cool like Izanagi, like new exotics and stuff.
They did that because they don't want those to be the only catalysts that you go after, and then you forget about these others. I think they put these in the game first because they're like, hey, these are like, not really pulled up that often. So let's give them a catalyst and see how it responds.
Give them a bump. But but like, why not catalyst for stuff that you use a lot that just doesn't have a catalyst yet? Versus you might have to wait another year.
They're going to put those in. Well, I think they're going to put them in the summer. I think the summer update is going to be a bunch of catalysts that they put in to chase after.
Opulence. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a good call. Okay. It's season of the catalyst is what you're saying.
And secrets and probably a few exotics, but like some of these chases, the game really lacks horizontal progression. And catalysts provide a little bit of that. So
just occurred to me.
That's why they're they're trickling the stuff into the game as players have like exhausted most of the options.
Yeah. Hawkmoon Catalyst. That's that's the icing on that cake we were searching for.
That's the Spirit Hawk.
That's it.
The Spirit Hawk comes down, grabs him from the sky.
I love it.
The update comes on, April 9th. So next Tuesday. Update 2.2.1 at 9 p.m. Pacific time.
Dude, we're not going to get to Twitter questions, Brian.
We're doing it right now. We're moving on right now to Twitter questions.
All of them. We're going to go through all of it. We're not even going to talk about Arc Week.
Arc Week's coming next week.
We've been talking about Arc Week for like 3 weeks.
People are going to be able to get Thunderlord if you never had a quest to get it.
But there's crazy ass emotes, for Arc Week. There's a Titan emote, a Hunter emote, and a Warlock emote.
Summed it up right there.
There it is.
So anyway, that's good.
Pope.
There's a Hunter.
You like Arc?
Pope, why aren't you doing the TWAB the whole time, man? Unbelievable.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Goodbites asks. We're doing Twitter questions now.
Okay, cool.
We could sprinkle in a little bit of TWAB.
Okay. A little bit of TWAB?
Yeah, just sprinkle in between the questions.
I'm sure we'll have a 20-minute conversation about the first one. So
okay, sounds good.
Mr. Goodbye says, what do you think we're getting this fall? New Forsaken level DLC plus another annual pass, Destiny 3, maybe nothing. I suspect an annual pass. I think the rumor's probably right.
Agreed.
I think a twist like we were talking about before. I expect a solid annual pass, but that maybe there's something else coming, be it a battle pass-esque other option. I don't know what that, but something on top of it.
Yeah, we kind of went in on this question already earlier.
Yeah,
we heavily covered this prior. I mean,
rewind about 60 minutes.
I didn't pick the questions before we did the podcast. Like
we're getting
you still read them
in September. That's what we're getting.
I mean,
Aura says,
one job.
Evil Aura says, why do you think some weapon stats are displayed in a manner that differs from their performance?
Because Bungie wants to troll me.
They like to see.
They like to see me suffer. They're like, it'd be hilarious. Let's make a blue shotgun and let Fallout just figure it out. Like a blue shotgun that has no business being that good, and yet it can compete with the Dust Rock Blues. Let's do that. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
One is that one? What's that one?
The Botheration.
Yeah.
Oh, Brotheration. Yeah.
It's like Achin, Sniper Salad.
Where can I get it?
Is it actually Botheration? I always thought it was Brotheration.
I think so, yeah.
No, it's Botheration.
Oh, my bad. This whole time I thought
Where
it was
do I get it?
Brotheration.
Brotheration, man.
Let me tell you something.
There's a lot of hidden stats on guns, too, that are there, but you can't necessarily see. Yeah. So there's like the aim assist stats are in there. Actually, aim assist is in there now in Destiny 2.
You know what it is?
There's a bunch of stats that are like hidden, but they're there, and they could really make you could have two hand cannons that look exactly the same in-game stats, but they have wildly different game stats that are like not shown in game, and they just feel totally different.
So Cosmo likes to put cat pictures into the TWAB.
Yes,
this is Cosmo. He is putting stats. He's sprinkling stats throughout weapons.
Adding cat pictures in our stats.
It's like cat pictures in stats, only it's affecting the game. Blame Cosmo, 100%.
Eric Email says, what effect, if any, do you think Borderlands 3's release date may have on any September plans by Bungie, given the fact that this is traditionally when they release new content?
None.
So, yeah, I don't think in terms of internal company conversations, I don't think it would affect anything like that. There's obviously crossover in terms of people who play these games. So, but in the long run, these things kind of even out because people like to play lots of different things. So they might be playing some Borderlands and then catching up on content from Destiny and vice versa if there is something that's big in Destiny that comes out September.
Yeah, my view is
they could schedule when their DLCs come out to suit me a little.
Yeah, they should just call you first.
Great. Make a phone call. Hey,
I was going to say,
on doing like a March thing. You think you could do an April thing?
Nah, I got a wedding in March.
Yeah, I think their primary concerns have been titles like Call of Duty and stuff like that. And if that had moved up to this, like whenever they're thinking, that might influence it. I don't know if, not that Borderlands isn't big, like it's sold a lot over the years, but meaning like eventually you can only avoid so much. Like everybody tried to avoid Red Dead last year. And I think a title like that can even have enough influence. But like, okay, wait, we're not releasing on the same week or day of Red Dead because it'll suck up currency. But yeah, I don't think Borderlands will do it. Although they might avoid the week. Yeah. Maybe the week could influence.
Yeah.
So they might be like, no September 13th anymore. We're before or after.
Yeah, they probably look at that. Yeah.
No.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they move it up by a week because they're like, okay, we need to do first week. So
Lebachita says, ever consider having a random fan or player get as a guest instead of a content creator? The guests are great, don't get me wrong. Just curious if you ever considered it, with this being the Destiny community podcast.
Can I field this one?
Yeah.
Sure.
So we have actually thought about this quite a bit, and it's an often requested thing. However, primary to us is making sure that we're running an entertaining show that is, there's too great of a risk when we're bringing in random people. We've tried it in on call-in shows and things like that of audio quality, and there is no guarantee that when we bring somebody in, that often people just get gun shy. They just won't say anything, or they get intimidated, or something happens, and it's really difficult to have to put on a show every week that you want to be entertaining and you want to be informative, and then to take that risk. So we also focus on wanting to be able to include people that have specialties in certain areas and to influence the show based on what's going on that week. And it's difficult to get somebody that you don't know at all, because they are random, right? You don't know what their specialty is to talk about. So I'm trying to cultivate a show that is entertaining, high quality, and has informative aspects of it. And then the unknown quantity of a random person is extremely difficult to plan around and to be consistent.
Yep.
And for that, I'm not unable to pick random people, but I do love the idea. It's just not practical.
On top of that, if I can add, there is a ton of content creators that fit all those criteria that are really good that we love to have on the show as well. It's just there's only so many episodes in a year. And
it's hard to organize.
The wait list is huge.
Yeah,
I haven't been on like a year and a half. Come on,
there's people that I want. So many people that I want.
Yeah, like that.
Our ego
list
this long. Just after seeing your hair last time, we're like, it took us this long to recover.
that list of content creators is huge, and if we started adding in like that aspect of guests, then it gets really tough, honestly.
Yeah. I will only add in that, like, I don't have to plan the show. I had already complimented Pope earlier, and I know you guys do other stuff too, but having dealt with Pope directly on this, but I was like, man, he does a good job of looking ahead. There's so much to organize and project manage. He's doing a lot. I can't believe that he's played Destiny, have a full-time job, family, and do all of this on top of it. So in other words, it's already hard enough with the current variables. So I think it is a smart idea, but
that is what it comes down to. Right? Like, it's too many variables to be able to put on a quality show and know that I am going to get it.
Yep.
So
fair enough.
In a different world, maybe, but I can't.
Can I throw a question out there? I know you're about to ask Briar, but I wanted to bring this up.
What's your question?
What did you guys think about the hubbub about Sekiro needing a easy mode? In the
I was hoping about this.
I love that.
I did include a question about this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Can you actually read that question real quick?
Yeah, let me find it real quick.
Because I was worried that you didn't include it. So
no, I definitely did.
I think it's a great question to ask.
Because I would like credit for whoever asked it as well. Wow, guys.
Can't control F that? What's going on?
I probably should have done that.
Do his job.
Not. The Mohican 9 says, should games like Sekiro have an easy mode?
Okay.
Who is it again?
Mohican 9
wait.
That was it.
Wait, who is
interesting.
Again?
Mohican 9 asked if it needs easy modes in games like that. What? So,
awesome question. I wish Tef could think of stuff.
So I'll give some quick thoughts on this. I think on the sensitive side, it does make sense to have accessibility options and have people who are struggle with the inputs have the option to accomplish games like that FromSoft makes. But at the same time, FromSoft is known for making these difficult games that the accomplishment is, in fact, overcoming the challenges that the game poses at you. So it's one of those things. Like I want games across the board to be accessible by everybody, but at a certain point, some games you kind of have to draw the line to a degree. And I think the FromSoft games are kind of there because part of the excitement of beating that challenge is learning what the challenge is being thrown at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no easy way out, and that is what makes it special. The feedback that I had was, I understand, especially with Sekiro, because it can be crazy hard, why people are asking, and there's a good argument to be made. What does it matter to you if I play on easy? Whose business is it that you're going to tell me that I can't have fun on an easier mode, even if the designers are like, well, I wish you wouldn't play it like that. I wish you'd try the other one. So I feel like it's a fair argument that we shouldn't shun people that feel that way, but it's also a slippery slope as well. How do you ensure that it's played as designed and you don't ruin what they feel is the art of the game? And that's what I took a break after Demon's Souls. I honestly wasn't able to keep up with Dark Souls, all that, which is crazy, right? So truthfully, I haven't played their stuff in forever. When I came back to Sekiro, the amount of craft and design into the gameplay mechanics and the difficulty, I'm stuck, on boss after boss in that game to the point I'm going to pull my hair out. But I would not personally want an easy mode. I think it's fine. It's just, that's the type of game. And there's real-time simulators and all types of stuff that are super hard. Do they owe you an easy game? So, but I wouldn't argue that it's like a crime if they added it. I think that's where people draw their own lines. Some people do think it's a crime. I don't know if you do, Teft, but
no. If FromSoft felt like they needed to add easy mode, I definitely wouldn't be like, I can't believe FromSoft's doing this. I'm never buying one of their games ever again. That's I think that's a stupid opinion to have. Personally, I really do. But if you think they need, they're required to put an easy mode in the game, I also think that's kind of dumb.
The only thing that makes me think it'd be really nice for accessibility, right? It's not everybody has full use of everything they need to be successful at that game, but they may love the game and they may want to see the story to completion just to check it out. And for accessibility's sake, I think that it'd be nice if it was there. And some people, they don't have the skill to get through it either, and they'd like to just see the story through. Not everybody wants to just bang their head against the game, even though that may be the artistic intention. Games are different than looking at a painting, right? Where you're just gazing at one artist's intention of something. Games have a million people making contributions to them, and difficulty scaling could be off, or any number of things. I played Celeste on easy mode, and I would have never beat that game if I didn't play it on easy mode. But I just wanted to see the story through because it had a really compelling story. And, I recommended it to my kids, and my kids played it through, and they really enjoyed the story. And
Celeste has an easy mode? I didn't even realize that. How does it keep you from dying?
One of the things you could do is just get a double jump.
Oh, wow. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to detract from the accessibility comment. I think is interesting.
Let me chime in here. I'll just shoot my shot real quick. I think it's important to have accessibility. So I think it's a good topic that the gaming community at large is having right now, because I do think it is important. That being said, I think it's good to consider moving forward, making sure that if you're a game developer, you really strongly consider, hey, should we have multiple levels of difficulty to make things easier across the board? But that being said, I wouldn't want anyone to attack a game developer or a company for their decision to not include that in their game, because a video game is an art medium. It's a form of art. It's a form of entertainment. I wouldn't yell at an author for not making different versions of a book. Not every book.
Where's my dummies version, man?
Yeah, if you can't, if you have no sight, fuck you. I'm not making this in Braille. You don't get to read it.
And Rand for dummies.
You know, like not every book has to be written for every person.
Braille.
Not every. Well, no,
that's different. That's different.
That's very different. But
I don't think it's different.
Sure.
No, Braille is a way to read it with its complexities.
That's a different way to. That's a different way to
have.
That's a different way to have access to the medium, which is like having controllers for people who are, physically handicapped, so they are able to play that way and stuff like that. Across the board, everyone should have the access to play the game, but I wouldn't want a developer to be attacked for how they presented their game as an art form. You know what I mean?
See,
yeah.
I think there should be
part of the issue, though. Hold on, Briar. But part of the issue, though,
real quick, I think there should be a base level of accessibility to everything. Like, you should be able to remap buttons in every game. Like, it doesn't matter what your artistic vision is. You should be able to remap buttons so that you can use one of those.
Can't you do that on the console,
controllers, though? So, yeah, but you got to do it like per game. Not, you know what I mean? It's like you could do it on a system level, but you really want to be able to do it per game.
Yeah. Well, Sekiro does support it, by the way, which is great. You can.
Yeah, but some games don't. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not picking.
I'm agreeing with you on that. Yeah.
I hear you on that.
Funny, I have. There's someone that watches all the time. This guy Ninja for the win in my chat, and he's always asks about autorun. He actually has, something with nervous system disability, and it seems so simple. Like, yeah, why didn't you just add an autorun? It changes the entire access to the MT. Just add autorun. So I think stuff like that it's a different conversation. But like, man, it'd be great to ensure that stuff's always being looked at. But I also don't think that like Sekiro is just so hard. I think that it should be accessible, but I think it should still be super hard.
See,
it's hard balance to meet.
The issue is the game itself, because it's not this type of game that you just go walk up to a boss and beat it first time every single time, and then that's the satisfying reward at the end. It's the fact that you get your butt kicked and you fail a lot, and
you learn.
You have to actually overcome the challenges that it puts in front of you, and that's like a big part of the experience with these type of games. So if they give you, if they actually pre-built a shortcut out of that to like not have that challenge, I think it changes the game fundamentally, and I think that's why.
But does it make it a bad game? Like, if that was your experience and that's what you love about it, but if somebody doesn't like that part of the game, does it make it a bad game to change it?
You mean to offer an easier mode?
No. Just offering.
No, it's a good point. I mean, would I think it's a bad game that way? No, I wouldn't think it's a bad game.
But the devs might is the point.
But I also
think
might
be like, I don't like it.
I think it's their choice.
But we do know these specific devs are masochists. So
yeah, but that is the art.
That's part of the platform that they made, is that like these bosses kick your ass, and it's exhilarating once you've overcome the challenges, because it's very specific inputs.
Yeah, it'd be like, what if should they make easier versions of
what?
Because they're so hard? Should they make easier versions of the raids?
Right.
They are.
That's a good
complex.
point. It's like raids, PvP, like should things have these different types of difficulty levels because of that? I feel like there's got to be a line somewhere. Like certain games, it makes sense. Yeah, go for it, Pope.
I've been interested in this conversation. I saw it going across the internet, and I wanted to chime in on this. I think there's two different conversations here between artistic freedom and accessibility. I think that there's a really strong conversation happening in the community, or in the developer community and the gaming community, about accessibility that I haven't really heard before. And that's great. But it's almost separate than the artistic piece of this, because accessibility comes in many different formats, and developers' ability to have alternate controllers and things like that happen in their game. And that conversation needs to keep happening, because there's a lot of people that need to be that would benefit from accessing this game, and it would help them to see the magic of that platform or that game. The artistic piece of it is a conversation about what the developers want to do with their game. They are going to limit the people that can access their game, right? So they're making a choice by doing that. So they're making a difficult game because that is an extremely important part of their game. And that's the audience that they're going after. And they feel that by making it easier, they're diluting their game. And I believe that that's absolutely their artistic choice. And I don't think by making that choice, they're saying we don't want people to be able to access our game. They're saying our audience is wanting and asking for this game to be accessed. I feel like the people that are upset about the easy mode in the game are kind of confused. I felt like I had a hard time understanding what the argument really was about. And if you started to hear these people that brought in the choice about accessibility, it really was a valid conversation, but not necessarily applicable to the exact game that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Those Souls games and this game that's coming out right here that I watched you play, Tefty. I saw you beating your head against the wall for hours on one boss.
Yes, I got much enjoyment out of that.
Best stream I've ever seen.
The feeling you had when you completed it was the purpose of the design of the game. You had to learn a mechanic, and there were bosses that you came up to, you're like, I can't beat this. I got to go back and keep trying and learn more skills to come back. That was the heart and soul of the game. And to ask a developer to dilute their game that way, I feel like is not what people who are arguing for accessibility really meant by that. Mm-hmm. And I think that just people, the whole conversation got really confused from what I was seeing, and people started getting at each other's throats over it, but they're both valid points. They're just not about the same game. I don't think the developer is saying that screw the handicapped people.
No. Yeah.
No, it becomes like those guys. And the blind too.
Those guys, you know?
Yeah,
and the blind people
it's
too.
Ridiculous to think that they're like trying to do that or anything. It's like they're making art. Video games are art, and it's there are points in time where sometimes it just doesn't make sense for other people to play it. And if you want bosses to be handed to you on a platter so you can easily kill them, like, that's just not what the games that they're making. There's other games out there for you.
Never has been that. Yeah, like what were you expecting? It's just a red herring,
folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It honestly has become that. I hadn't heard about the sort of accessibility comments. And again, I think that why are we only now having that discussion then for Sekiro of all games? Meaning, like, yes, but where were you on all these other games that have tons of needs?
Dark Souls 3, yeah.
No, but those are super
Cuphead
hard.
Needs an easy mode.
But even meaning, why does it have even? There's so many accessibility needs that need to be that. All these people suddenly come out of the woodwork on one of the hardest games from the developers who are masochists, like you said. Like, it's such a red herring thing of like, I think they're using it as a distraction because it's pretty hard to start arguing with someone when they're trying to defend rights, like.
Right.
Obviously. And I mean, sure, it's an important discussion, but I'd love to look at their history and Reddit and be like, okay, when's the last time you brought it up? So I feel like it's just, it's an easy distraction and it is a need. But as you were, I think, saying, Pope or Breyer, I can't remember now, but they're two different discussions.
Was it a good point, Fran?
That you made?
That you were talking about, was it a good point?
In terms of accessibility versus the hard or easy mode
stuff.
Stuff.
Just say yes. It was a good point.
I'm not sure what the question is. It's entrapment. I think it is a good point that we need to have the two discussions. Yes, it's a good point. We need to have two discussions, but that is not the question that is at hand. Is the game too hard to be played, and should they?
I don't really understand.
Let developers
thank you next.
Let developers make their games. They're not actively trying to remove sales. Like, that's ridiculous. They're trying to make the best version of the game that they think that they're making. And that's
they'll vote. they'll vote with buying it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll either be able to afford to put
That's
on
it,
a
right there. It's like, why is everybody so upset about this specific issue in this specific game? If these games aren't to your liking, like if these games are just too hard for you, there's like a fucking million games that came out this year that are fucking fantastic. Like, go play one of those. Yeah. And why would it bother you that people are asking for an easy mode in a game that you like? Like, I don't understand why that bothers. I don't understand why either side is bothered by this at all.
Well, here's why I think that people are upset about it is that they feel like the uproar towards a developer forcing them to put a game into a game like.
Is it an uproar, or are people just asking like, "Hey, I'd really enjoy if you guys put an easier mode into this because I like the art design, I like the story that you guys made. It's just a little too hard for me."
I don't think that. I think there's a mixture of reactions depending on what piece of the internet you pull your information from. I mean, there's toxicity anywhere, Briar. So it's like where you pull your soundbite from. I feel like I got a lot of mixed, some very valid, calm responses, like one you just gave, to like, burn them, they hate people. Like you're like, okay, well, somewhere in the middle is the average gamer. But I want them to make games that challenge high-end players. Am I going to access that game? Probably not. But I enjoy watching people play it. They're not going to get my money from the sale. Yep.
That's the point, though. They don't owe anybody anything, and that's what they're going to make the game offense to. They don't owe you anything. If you don't like it, yes, I think this is fair for you to be like the game.
They owe me a PC version of Bloodborne.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, but meaning it's totally
damn right.
I'm not going to argue. Let's say, Pope, you felt this way. You're like, the game is way too hard. It is not enjoyable for me at all. I'm not going to argue with you and tell you that it should be fun. You just don't like it. Yeah. But I also don't think that you can argue that they needed to put in a mode to serve you, because that's not the game they made. And that's what makes it special.
Yeah. Some people enjoy playing comp, for God's sakes. My goodness.
People are freaks.
A bunch of freaks.
Anyway,
Jonathan Ulia says, what are your thoughts on the recent article that came out about Anthem written by Kotaku, as well as the response that EA gave after the article?
That was a crazy article.
Wow. That was like
I'll be honest, I didn't read it.
Blood, Sweat, and Pixels.
You gotta
I'll be honest, I didn't read it. Man. Can you guys give like a quick synopsis?
It was like behind the music with Anthem. It was like a written documentary of like everything, the story of Anthem's birth from paper, the creation of the game and how it got to the point where it is now, which is kind of like a flop in the market.
It was Jason Schreier doing a deep dive into how did we get to where we are with Anthem? And you know how crazy it was reading it, because it felt so similar to reading the same exact article by Jason Schreier about the development of Destiny. Like, it was like we had all sorts of problems with the engines. We didn't know what the story was going to be. Like, we were in development limbo because like there was no direction from the top down. Yeah. It was like, it was so eerie to read it because it felt like reading
a lot of it. It was that, but it was a little worse. It was 19 sources off the record that he interviewed. So deep investigation. Some don't work there anymore. Some do, but they basically talked about, they started off excited, but then it was very misdirected. Nobody could make a decision. And it got to the point that people were mentally overworked, and even some people crying in rooms, and like that it got really bad in terms of morale. And they barely made it to E3 2017 to come out with that demo. Flying wasn't even in the game at that point or whatever. They were climbing mountains, and they turned it around and said, no, put flying back in. And that's how crazy it was. And that's
every paragraph I was reading, I was like, wait.
They had Beyond t-shirts made up and were wearing them at E3 when they changed the name to Anthem.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they code named the game Dylan. Because they were like, because we want this game to be like the Bob Dylan of video games.
Hey, I don't think that's not a bad.
It was hilarious. And the funniest,
come on.
The one thing where they were like, one of the things that the team was like, this is a golden rule you have to abide. It was that the game had to be unmemeable.
What does that even mean? Like,
they were like, this is the primary rule. The game it must be unmemeable, because Mass Effect Andromeda came out.
Oh.
Everybody was making fun of the terrible facial animations, and they were like, kind of
Pain Face was amazing.
The irony was, irony was they're like, we can't have any more broken face animations. But then by someone in marketing saying it has to be unmemeable, you just made it memeable by saying
pretty much.
So they should have just said we can't have any more crazy facial. But the other thing that really stood out in the game, which I think was interesting, is the original hook of the game was that it was based on not necessarily what it is today because supposed misdirection, but that you would sort of venture out to the beyond as a team and you would suddenly run into these live levers getting whatever, sudden changes in the world, like a snowstorm blowing through, and you'd venture to the heart of a volcano, fight, and then fight your way back. And that was actually just what the game was supposed to be. It wasn't necessarily a looter shooter and all what it is today. Wow. It's pretty interesting.
Wow.
It did become, maybe because of these hodgepodge decisions, but the even more interesting thing was that it ruffled BioWare so much that they wanted to offer a letter back. And so you can read the statement by BioWare. But Kotaku has said that it came out so quickly. And by the way, it does take like an hour to read this article. And he clearly didn't send it to them. And he said something like they didn't read the full article, obviously. They made a statement saying that's not really what the cultures here is like. They wanted to respond and say the culture here is not as devastating. We don't overwork people like that. And so, I think there's a heart of truth to it. Like 19 people out of many, many hundreds. Who's to say necessary? But there's clearly 19 people that are sharing a story. And for them to come out so quickly, and according to Jason at Kotaku, that they didn't even read the story does not help. So it's crazy drama. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's too bad. What do you guys think that's going to do in terms of the industry? Like what does that do for?
Before we get into that, just give me 1 second.
Go for it.
Fallout is got a family obligation, and he needs to leave. Are you prepared for that?
I do have a 4-screen setup already, Pope, even though you did not tell me about this before.
Well, before you go, Fallout, I really want to wish you a very happy birthday. Thank you for spending your birthday with us.
Thank you very much. Can we get a happy birthday?
It's not my birthday.
Please? It is Fallout.
It's not my birthday.
Birthday plays.
He doesn't want people to know that he finally hit 16. He's hit puberty. He might actually get a beard this year.
He's going to go
really
apply for a driver's license real soon.
Oh, dude, I got ID'd.
He's in his mom's basement right
I got
now,
ID'd for booze the other day. What a travesty.
Yes.
I was like, really? Come on, man. I was having such a good day. I just want
happy
3 more years to your legal?
What?
3 more years to your legal?
I hate all of y'all.
If you're listening to this right now, make sure to jump on Twitter or Instagram, send Fallout Plays where can they reach you on social media?
You can find me at Twitter at FalloutPlays. Everything is at FalloutPlays. Twitter, Twitch,
so
YouTube.
Make sure to tweet him and say happy birthday, happy 17.
Yeah, sweet 17.
Please do it.
Send me that.
If you ever want to check out some of the best YouTube videos out there, check out his YouTube channel, Fallout Plays. He's going to be on here later on this month with Fran and Leopard Stealth. We got another great show planned with him. Really appreciate you coming out, Fallout. You always got great things to say, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Thanks for having me on the show. Looking forward to being back. Man. Gentlemen, thank you for having me. Fran, always a pleasure. Everybody talk soon.
Thank you, Fallout.
Peace be with
Thanks,
you.
Fallout.
Later.
All right, let's see this transition, Tefty.
Dude, I can't wait to see it.
Nailed it.
Did you do that seamless?
Pretty good.
No, Discord does it automatically, right?
Okay.
But
I'm watching
that how
the
it
stream.
looks? Oh, wow. That's impressive. My face is huge.
Nailed it, Tefty. You nailed
My
it.
face is
It's
huge.
almost like you've done this before.
Help!
Fran, do you have
It's
a
okay.
backup on the camera? Back up your camera?
Oh, I do, actually. I can. Oh, yeah, I can. I'm going to zoom out. Let's see.
Wow.
But
we're not looking at like an eyeball of Briar this time.
Let me see what that does.
That's better. A little bit more, by any chance? One more click.
Let's see. Did that do anything?
Oh, there we
Briar,
go.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh my God.
Briar,
it's-
we are a legit.
But you're not seeing my brother in the shot now.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're on pace to do a 24-hour
He says it costs extra.
podcast.
This is how they all been lately.
Yeah, it really is. I just want to say real quick though, like with an article like that, what is that going to do for the industry? Because like I feel like this happens all the time. We hear all these stories. Obviously, Anthem is a very specific case and sounds really awful at development timeline. It's crazy that they actually made a game that is technically fun to play. With as broken as the game is, it's amazing that Anthem was fun.
Yeah.
To actually play through.
I feel like after the stories about Red Dead, and I heard a lot of I heard rumors from reporters who were at GDC, like on podcasts and stuff, saying like a lot of people were like behind the scenes at GDC, kind of like getting upset about like the grind of making a game and how it's like it's always the same. And these articles keep coming out. I feel like the awareness of game players is getting more aware.
I could hear you trying to avoid it.
Where's?
I hope that like at some point, like the development of making a game, like the actual job of being a game maker, creator, doesn't require the personal sacrifices that it does now.
Seriously, that burnout,
like, maybe like
the burnout rate's
maybe
gotta be
unionizing
insane.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's where you look at this game where artistic skill and pure not like coding difficulties. The games are so incredibly complex now, and the crafts that are needed to produce the quality that we have right now, it just is. It's just insane. I mean, I feel like we're at a point where the industry is created. It's almost too complex to expect anything else, and I really hope that they can figure out a way that the human capital. It's like the Industrial Revolution had this issue where they became unionized and labor forces started to fight against it. I feel like we're at that point in the gaming industry where you start seeing labor fighting management, and we're seeing it happen. It's like history repeats itself in every industry, and when human capital starts getting abused in a way that it seems like it is, not for every studio, because you hear good examples of studios where they don't do this to their employees, but just like every factory during the Industrial Revolution wasn't using child labor, there were examples of it that weren't, but the majority are. And how do you fight your way out of that? Well, labor fights management, and that's how it happens. And so we'll see what happens.
It's hard, I feel like, in an industry where, like, my kids both, I have two twin boys who are about to graduate high school, and they both want to go into game designing. Like, they both want to.
You sent them that article?
And they're happy to start. They've read it all. I've talked to them about it. And, like, if you go get a degree, right, and you learn how to program well enough to program video games, like, there's a job at Microsoft working on Office right next door, so like once you get burned out at Bungie, you walk across the street and go get a nice job, well-paying job over at Microsoft, right? Like designing Excel. So it's like, it's not like the end of the world, but it's like the retention they have for employees at video game companies it's horrendous because it's just such a hard ass job.
Yeah. Well, you look at a game like Bungie or a studio like Bungie, and you've got, what do we have? Josh Hamrick, and there's like a couple big names. Who else? Wisniewski left, but those guys had been at Bungie like 12 plus years. Yeah. I mean, that is really for a lot of artistic people, like a lot of even staying at a studio and working on the same game is for that long is rare. And
exactly. People bounce around.
Yeah, and artistic people like that want to try the next challenges, and I think that's when we started seeing people freak out about the PvP that Bungie's doing away from PvP, is because they saw these people leaving. But that's totally not uncommon. But kind of dips into our conversation right now.
I mean, don't you also think there's the chance that Bungie's been restructuring?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But then maybe this was maybe known for a while.
I think that's natural coming from the end of D2's life cycle going into whatever the future of a fully owned or fully Bungie owned D3. I'm sure there's going to be restructure with that because they want to like make plans. And I also look at it as like those guys probably were focused on it so much that after you've focused on a project for over a decade, you tend to have lose sight of a lot of things. And so it's good to have a restructuring so people have different perspectives that help make decisions.
Work on something else for a change.
Yeah, but they were two very influential folks on that team. So it does. That's why when I think for developers coming. I still think that there's some more than just some seasonal pass. There's some changes of some.
But here's the thing, though, Fran. Like,
stage,
I'm very fortunate that I have met, and just like all of us, but I have a lot of friends and Watts, if she's in chat, but like friends that work at Bungie, and they are like, Bungie's done from speaking to them, and not like to put anybody on blast, they've done a lot of work to combat crunch and that overtime mentality and allow people their personal time to do. I feel like I've played with, over the last 5 years, a lot of Bungie employees that are super stoked to be working there, and they treat their employees really well. And I that's part of the reason I feel really proud of me supporting a game that has that culture. And I think that's a decision that the community will make. Those people that are plugged in, hardcore players, are going to be plugged into a community and buy games from developers that will be a community choice. I know it's not going to play, it's going to be esoteric, and sort of some people will see it as I'm going to buy organic right now versus, some other, farm raised fruit. That it's at that level where a gamer is going to say, I'm going to buy this game because it's from a studio that treats their employees well or is unionized. But it may become more mainstreamed future down the road, where it
I feel like you gotta be like so into gaming though to even know about that shit.
I know, but I'm hoping that just like the example I was giving with organics, it becomes mainstream. Then all of a sudden you see supermarkets like Safeway carrying organics, right? That's when you hit mainstream. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go to farmers markets and stuff like that. We're seeing we
need blood-free video games. Is what you're saying?
That's right. Blood-free diamonds. There is a point where it's just at the tip. We're just reading about it now, but there may be a point where it becomes more mainstream.
Yeah, I agree with you, by the way, and I think it's important to. It's good that you're bringing it up on this show, so you are reaching people with that message. I've seen, over the industry, it's been now almost 20 years in the industry, and it was you wouldn't think twice. Of course, making games, you're like working all the time. That's just how it was. And I've already seen it evolve. So meaning the fact that you can even see within Bungie, like, actually, I've heard that their culture is pretty solid. It already has evolved. It happens, and their studio's still evolving, but I see that it's changing. And the truth is, how do you walk away from something that you're super invested in creatively? A lot of these people end up just working too many hours anyway. Or the directors are just naturally, they may not even intentionally be asking work, pushing you creatively, that you end up doing it. And the team culture becomes that, even if it's not mandated. And like, that's, I do think it's something to work on, is when can you push people away and say, hey, you're taking Friday off, and force it. And we need more stuff like that, because mental health is so important. I do think in the industry it's been pretty bad. So
what's funny is like
that's potentially an issue.
I'm playing with like I'm sitting here playing Destiny, and then I see a guy on midweek. So I'm on spring break, and I see a guy on in the middle of the day, and I'm like, oh, are you just playing during your lunch break? Oh no, I got the week off. Well, you got the week off of work, and you're playing the game. I'm like,
doing it wrong.
You're supposed to be going outside and like seeing the sunlight and like going camping. What are you doing? They're like, I just wanted to catch I wanted to grind my character up to 6.
I needed to catch up. Addiction, man.
Hilarious.
It's really funny.
Skylar says, regardless of the 6-month wait on Steam, who's excited for Borderlands 3?
Insanely excited. Oh my god.
It's gonna be good.
Cannot wait. I
played the originals.
It's good time.
You never played the originals?
I was gonna say,
the
Borderlands
no better
time
remaster, than now.
Yeah, the Borderlands remaster, I started playing yesterday. It is fantastic. It's really well done, which gets me even more excited for Borderlands 3.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Play them, by the way. It just slipped by me. I started actually playing Game of the Year edition. Unfortunately, I was met with a ton of connection issues, which reminded me that it doesn't matter how old your game is, but you're going to have connection problems when you launch a server-side shared world thing. But hopefully, once I can jump in and play with people, this was on PS4. Xbox had issues as well. Once you get in that, my plan is to play up to 3. I just like the small taste I had. I could see, where Destiny got it from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
how much it's influenced, and like even whether or not it becomes a shared world thing, and this is from Destiny or Division. Like, I'm already stoked to just like get all the guns, the billion guns. So the style's cool.
Yeah,
Fran, you're gonna love some of the things that I appreciated the most out of Borderlands, and I'm a casual player, so like I didn't play hardcore grinding Borderlands. I played through the campaigns and then put them away. I really enjoyed how the enemy bosses or the people that you come across to were genuinely characters in the game.
Yeah,
they were like part of the story and really immersed you into that world. And I feel like the story development and how you played and earned loot was really felt meaningful, and you knew where to go to go get something that you wanted. And it was my first real introduction into a game like Destiny. I've been playing a crap load of Halo and all that, and I didn't play Diablo. I didn't play all these other games. I didn't play WoW. I didn't have any other influence other than Borderlands into the game that we have now, which is Destiny, that influenced me. And so when I look back at Borderlands, I think, man, did they really hit things on the head with like so many of the way that they introduce loot and storytelling into their gameplay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I will say, you know what Borderlands was not as good at? They don't have that Bungie feel.
The gunplay.
Yeah.
Especially
really,
the guns are cool and they do a bunch of cool, awesome stuff, but they don't feel, especially on a console. I think on a PC that's somewhat taken away because, you know, mouse and keyboard just.
I definitely.
But on a console, especially, it just didn't feel like a top tier.
I think still ultimately, that special feel of games is something that I always appreciated. You know, that's what makes Sekiro special. Anybody can make a game. It's the feel is so tight, the quality. But yeah, I noticed like Borderlands felt pretty good. But yeah, that was the first thing I noticed. Like, gunplay is just, there's so many subtle differences with the reticles and the bloom and the animations, and everything about it that Bungie's been doing for so long. But still, Borderlands felt pretty solid, and I'm using the crappy gun, obviously. So I can't wait to use the good stuff and see how it feels.
Yeah, and Borderlands 1 also you get proficiency as well as you use different types of weapons, so your accuracy and everything goes up as you get kills with types of weapons. Yeah. So over time, if you with that character that you're playing in BL1,
you level skills, base skills.
Yes.
Yeah, you level your stats. Your base stats ability. So your snipers, or I mean, guns in general, when you first start, they're going to feel real like, what is this? You know, and then it gets better. They also increase the drop rates of stuff for BL1, so it's just more rewarding in general,
a little more forgiving
from the original. Yeah, it's good. That remaster is
it looks great too. The remaster looks fantastic.
That's the benefit of games. I was really appreciating that, like a game like Wind Waker, and in its time you couldn't be totally sure, but just seeing it remastered, the style like holds up so well because the way that it is, it's sort of timeless. And just I don't look at the game and be like, oh yeah, it was definitely 2009. Like it's up-resed, it's smooth. It's hard to do that with, you know. You'd have to go back and think, well, whatever, old Halos, you know, you can't just up-res them. You have to do a ton of work to bring the speed. So Borderlands, that's why I'm excited. Like 1 and 2, I think it's easy to jump into them now if you never remasters and feel and look great.
Oh my god, what a great time! And BL3 it's coming midnight, around the corner.
So you want to do like rapid fire for like 5 more questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
And call it a night. All right, rapid fire. Mike asks, who tastes better, Fran or Fallout?
Fran.
Fran. I'm gonna go with Fran. Sorry, Fallout.
PXN says, just wish Fallout a happy birthday for me. I did that. Mamba says, if The Office was being recast with DCP hosts, who would be who? Sometime. All right. So
Pope is Michael Scott, for sure.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who Holtz is Dwight?
Okay.
Holtz is definitely Dwight. I actually called this before that Holtz was Dwight. I was like,
did you?
Holy crap. I can't believe how much like Holtz or Dwight is like Holtz, vice versa.
Yeah.
Wait, who's Watts then?
Watts is
Toby.
He's head of HR. All right, I love it. It was rapid fire. I think we should end it.
There it is.
That's perfect. Toby. Wow.
Chance says, what's your favorite combination of foods that typically don't go together?
I love apple pie with sharp cheddar cheese.
That's a common thing, isn't it?
It's
known,
apparently not by a lot of people, but I love that. I love that that people don't think of putting cheese on a.
Yeah, I've never had it. It sounds disgusting.
Try it. It is absolutely
sharp cheddar on apple pie.
I'd say I struggle to do this type of stuff as much, and I don't think it's that uncommon. But I like potato chips on the sandwich, like crushed in.
Yeah.
No, but people are probably like, "Well, yeah, that's good." I don't know.
Oh wait.
Have you heard of French fries in the shake?
I've heard about that.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Especially a Frosty from Wendy's.
Exactly. That is really good.
Mayo and French fries.
Oh, that's like European though. Yeah, it's just like normal. Oh, it's good, dude. I like it. I came around on it.
Come on, man.
Yeah, little horseradish.
I honestly don't know. I don't think I have like a particular type of food that somebody would be like, ugh. Oh, actually, pineapple on pizza. Love me pineapple on pizza.
Oh,
that's not unusual. That's just
don't go
doing
there.
it right.
That's just doing it right. How about crawfish and
crawfish?
Yeah, they need the
crawfish sushi.
Crawfish sushi.
No, that's probably good.
Not even boiled. Not even boiled.
No, a crawfish po' boy is
a crawfish burrito.
It's National Burrito Day right now, by the way.
Is it? Well, actually, I had to talk about
what? No, it's not. Is it?
It is.
Guys,
well, I know what I'm doing after this.
What if you
I live in San Francisco and haven't eaten? That's perfect.
Crawdads, and you throw in a big old dollop of mayo, and you wrap it in a burrito. Mayo.
Oh beautiful. No! Please, God, no. That's
you
an abomination.
Me a dollop of mayo
and some horseradish.
You got yourself a deal.
That's nasty.
I'm sorry.
That's nasty.
Hey, wait! I have a question for you guys. Miracle Whip or mayonnaise?
Mayo, real mayo.
Yeah, real mayo.
Yeah.
I don't even know what Miracle Whip is made of.
My wife gets
probably
Miracle
mayo.
Whip. It's a Midwestern thing.
It is. I'm from the Midwest, so it like I know why people like it, but
you cut out big time right there.
Oh,
that was a hard cut right there.
What is good? Do we think it's Discord?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is Miracle Whip sweeter? Is that why people like it? I'm
it's got
from
like
the
a tang
Midwest,
in there,
so it's very common. But I didn't like mayo forever. It took me until
Miracle Whip.
It was marketed at, as a healthy alternative to mayonnaise too. I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's like a long time ago. Like they started making it. I think.
You cut out that time.
Briar cut out that time. Yeah.
Yes. It's not just me.
The longer this call goes,
the more it's cursed. It's curse week. Is it? I don't know.
Lex Meldrum says, do y'all realize that you've gone 2 whole podcasts in a row without bringing up crawfish once?
Well, lies.
Over.
Lies.
All right, last question. There's only 2 questions left. I'm going to ask them both. Julio says, let's see what the guest hosts decide. You're all in a plane crash in the mountains, in the middle of a blizzard, won't be rescued for days. So this is just for you, Fran. You got no transportation. It's 50 miles. You're 50 miles from help. Who do you send for help and who do you eat first?
Out of this group?
Yeah.
Who I eat first? I'm eating multiple people?
Not just this group. Like
who goes
it has
for
to
help?
be the podcast. It has to be the podcast team.
At
all
home.
5 of us, right? And you have to decide who goes for help and who you're eating to stay alive.
Okay. I don't know why, but I'm going to send Tef for help. I just feel like he's going to get it done.
That's
and
right.
that beard's
like
going
the
to
podcast. Like the podcast.
Beard, right?
I make sure the podcast is running every week. I'm going to get
Yeah,
it
he
done.
had
help.
I feel like Teft is going to like get distracted and like stare off at the mountains for like 6 days.
Yeah.
I'm not like a squirrel guy.
Oh, what was I supposed to do?
But yeah, and he's in production too. You see how he had that camera backup? He thinks of the unknown and he's ready.
See,
so,
Briar?
Okay, so wait, who am I going to send out for to go out and then what? Eat first?
Yeah,
because obviously you're starving.
Tough.
Yeah.
For some reason, I feel like it's in between Pope or Watts. I feel like they're both like they eat the right stuff. Like Pope's got his wife and family,
so
feeding them well, like good
quality of
nutrition.
At that point,
and same for Watts. Well, yeah, my life depends on it.
Wait.
Looking for grain
at this
fed.
moment, you're thinking about like what is like organic, free range, like meat.
Yeah, I don't want a stomach ache.
You're gonna die if you don't eat.
The point is, you're also
calories.
Like, you can't just judge it based on like weight or like whatever, right? So you got to think about the quality of the meat you're getting, and that's
so if you're starving to death and somebody hands you a Big Mac, you're gonna be like, that's a little too many calories.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Bad oil.
To be fair, the way the question was phrased, I'm going to eat everybody eventually because it was who was going to eat first. So there's an order of operations.
Who's the first one? That's the thing. Who's getting?
Oh well, I said I was struggling, but I'm gonna go with Watts. Her skin is very like shiny and nutritious. Like I feel like it's.
She is vegan.
She does.
She's vegan. Yeah. There you go.
Watts.
I think you've convinced me, Fran. You're for years I've been picking Briar, but
that's a changer too. We don't know how he.
What if we have a bear that attacks us? I'm going to need Briar to fight the bear.
See,
Watts going to
you see, you just chuck him a piece of Briar and he's happy. Come on, man.
Tefty's got to be back on the Briar.
At first, I was scared of the question. Now I feel very prepared. If you guys ever want to go on vacation somewhere,
sounds good.
Oh, man.
Clue says, "What do you do? What do you put on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Strawberry or grape jelly, or do you just put a bit strawberry or grape jelly?"
Neither. I put raspberry.
I was gonna say I like raspberry too.
Raspberry's good.
Or a nice marmalade, maybe.
I think I like raspberry too. I'm gonna go raspberry.
Yeah. You know, I like strawberry. We
actually
just got some strawberry jam.
Clue, I just can't get on with your question, man.
Blackberry.
I feel like
that
Blackberry question really missed the mark and didn't understand the complexity of the palette of this podcast.
Yeah,
that's right. Try harder next week.
How fresh, like which ones has the
preserved? It's like he doesn't have a clue. Jelly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, come on.
All right, that's it. We've completed the podcast.
Nice. It's the long
marathon podcast.
That's a good one, man.
3 hours, man.
Jammed up that question really bad.
Oh, since I did the intro, does this mean I sign off first?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Teft.
Yeah, man.
You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. Catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. I am going to be playing the video games on the internet. It's pretty good. Yeah, pretty good, man. Yeah.
That was almost like Patrick, dude. I love that. Great job.
I'm FM3 on Twitch. That's FM3_. If you want to,
hard cut out.
I know. Wow, I'm doing
one more time.
Why are you
I'm
doing
FM3 on Twitch, but there's an underscore, FM3_. If you want to come and support me and find me over there, I'm also just Fran Mirabella. Most other places like Twitter and all. Cut out again? Can you guys do it for me?
Yeah. Read the description below. It's going to have all the links to Fran. And,
wait, did it at least say FM3_ on Twitch?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
all right, that's all
out there.
Thank you, guys. This has been fun. We got 2 more weeks of Fran, right?
Yes,
right.
you do.
That's right. Briar?
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me preparing a 2019 Honda Accord for the Cannonball Run.
Cannonball Run. Nice.
Yeah, man. Doing it.
All right. And you can find him everywhere. Just search for the Briar Rabbit and you'll find him on Twitch, and really fun to watch and check out his YouTube channel.
Driving rapidly between New York and LA.
Perhaps to eat.
I do want to, and this has been Pope Bear. You can find me on Twitter at Pope Bear. I just, whatever. I'll produce the show. So, every once in a while I ask for suggestions for guests, and follow me there if you want to suggest your favorite creator. I do have something to announce. We are going to be working in the future, but that's not what I'm talking about now. Beyond Gaming, or Beyond Arenas, we'll be holding the world's first Gambit Prime tournament with full support from Bungie this Easter. Qualifiers starting the 24th of April with the live final on the 18th of May. This is a UK in-person tournament, LAN tournament. This will be the first time a national tournament has been supported on this level. Belong have 22 arena locations across the UK. You can sign up. Just need to head to your local arena, where you can also support you with finding a fire team. For more information, weeks ahead, go to belong.gg for those UK people.
We're hoping the first Bungie supported tournament.
Yes. So the combination of this with the direction I think they're going with Gambit, and maybe some increased levels or ranking system, I think we have a viable shot at what looks like for the future of competitive in my mind. However, we're hoping that this is super successful in the UK. That's why I want to get the word out there, because it will influence and it can influence a US, a possible US tournament.
Yeah.
So we want to show the viability of this, get this out, information out to all these UK people, and good luck to Anubis and everybody working on that over at Belong Arenas. Best of luck. We'll be watching for sure. And I'm scared to see what some of the teams that I've seen showing practicing for Gambit Prime are going to show up and do, but it should be really entertaining and fun to watch.
Are they live streaming it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They will be. There'll be more information coming out. Today was just an announcement that they're working with Bungie on it, and that they're going to be doing qualifiers starting the 24th of April, and the finals on the 18th of May. If it's viable, we may see some on the US side. So we're pretty excited about that. I just want to announce that. So next week we have Mesa Sean on. The next week after that we have Leopard Stealth, and on the 25th it will be all of us back together again for a show with the crew. The 25th of April, and right around now in the next 2 weeks I'll be putting out suggestions for future guests. So make sure to pay attention to that, and I'll be booking May and June. Lots of stuff coming up with Destiny and other games. Really love the support you guys are showing us, even though Destiny is like kind of in a lull with people playing the Division and all these other games. The support that you guys give us from our fan base is just insane. I can't express to you. Like, I was looking at the numbers. I don't do it very often, but I was looking at the numbers, and we're carrying our audience from the height of Destiny through right now, and it surely shows the support you guys have. We opened up. I want to announce that we have a new community manager. Aries, Mr. Aries, has Hollymod himself has stepped up into the role. He's taking over all of our social media platforms, and along with Discord, he's already making waves. He's made everybody who is a Twitch, who supports us on Twitch, who subscribes to us on Twitch, has access to the Discord and also the pre-show chat. So he's making sure that everybody, there's equality between those that support us in the Patreon and those that support us on Twitch. So there isn't a haves and have-nots. Really appreciate it. Our first run of t-shirts was amazing. We nearly sold out. All those have gone out. We were going to probably do a new run here pretty soon with some new designs, and that's DCP merch, dcplivemerch.com, and really appreciate the support that everybody showed us there. We got some great announcements coming up in the near future about PAX West. So if you're planning on going to PAX West, you'll be seeing us in a very special way there. More to come on that. And I think that's it. Just lots of love from all you guys, and can't say how just cool it makes me feel that here we are talking 3 years later, and we're still got this huge fan base that's just chugging along with us. So really love you guys.
That's it. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next week.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.